The Legion of Soldiers, the strongest civilization for hire. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Design. The black energy wave penetrated the body of the space beast. The space energy on the surface of the space beast's body and its hard scales could not block this terrible energy. The energy slid from the tail of the beast all the way to its head, almost splitting the space beast in two. But even so, the space beast was still not completely dead. The main brain of the space beast had indeed been torn apart by the energy and stopped beating. But there were still 3 sub-brains in its body that were still beating. However, these 3 sub-brains were also pierced by Angel Yan's sword one by one. After all, Angel Yan was not like Chen. Due to the last experience and the angel database, Angel Yan had a sufficient understanding of the space beast. She understood the body structure of the space beast and knew very well how to completely cut off the life of the beast. Very good. After confirming that the space beast was dead, Angel Yan breathed a sigh of relief. Then the next one is the little boy. Angel Yan ignored the body of the space beast and flew out of the blocked space directly. And this space beast that had brought many disasters to the universe, just stayed here forever, and perhaps it would never be discovered by others. Maybe I was wrong. If it was just the angel that was attacked before, they wouldn't have sent such a left-wing guard of the 3rd generation divine body level. The reason why this space beast came here should be attracted by the space beast, but the reason why the other party came to this desolate area of the universe was definitely not because the angel was attacked. Chen began to recall whether he had done anything in the past that led to the deviation from his expectations. I didn't do anything special after attacking the angel. I have been staying on the Galbia star for so long that I won't attract this angel again. Then before this incident happened, could it be that Nagusan accidentally left some impact that was discovered by the Angel Civilization, causing the Angel Civilization to think that the Demon Civilization was hiding here? Wait, the other party may not have bought this piece of desolate hard jade, nor may she come for me. Maybe she is going to the Norris Civilization. After all, the Norris Civilization is also a 9th level civilization. If the Angel Civilization does not intend to conduct its own exploration first, it is very likely to send an angel of this level to negotiate with the Norris Civilization. But it shouldn't be. Based on my understanding of the Angel Civilization, they should conduct their own exploration first, and it is absolutely impossible to send an angel warrior of the 3rd generation divine body level. Of course, it is also possible that there are some things to discuss between the Norris Civilization and the Angel Civilization. Chen sighed. In any case, if Angel Yan cannot be stopped now, the Shura Empire will inevitably be discovered by the other party. There is no way to deceive. I don't even know why the other party came here. It seems that there is only another way. Chen glanced at the various props in the Divine Diamond Mall, trying to find another way to stop Angel Yan. However, the time left for Chen was not long. After only about half an hour, Angel Yan had returned. Not bad. He didn't run away, but even if he did, it wouldn't matter. I've found the clue anyway. Angel Yan looked at Chen. In her eyes, the new cosmic empire was built by the civilization behind the scenes. I don't know what you're talking about. In fact, Chen didn't lie. He didn't know what the clue Angel Yan was talking about was, so the two of them started a conversation of "you think I know, but in fact I don't know." Enough. Angel Yan wanted to bring up the topic implicitly, because the other party had the power of time, so he couldn't be a weak civilization, and in her eyes, communicating with a 1st generation god body like this was already giving face to the other party. But she didn't expect the other party to be playing dumb all the time. Then I'll be frank. We already know the civilization behind you that controls time. What else do you want to say now? What? Greater than Chen was stunned. He looked at the beautiful angel in front of him. He didn't think that the other party would be a guy who was looking for fun with him. Wait, is it the previous copy? So the copy was actually a real time travel to the past? But if that were the case, The Norris civilization should not be a 9th level civilization now, greater than, because the technology on the Ink Crescent ship once brought a lot of help to Norris. Without that technology, the Norris civilization would have failed in many subsequent wars and would not have been able to grow into a 9th level civilization. However, in that copy, Chen blew up the Ink Crescent ship. After thinking for a while, Chen made up his mind. Since you have already realized it, there is nothing much to say. It was just an experiment conducted by our civilization. In fact, we don't know whether the experiment was successful or not. We sent that first-generation divine body to verify the results of the experiment. It was just that he met your angel by chance. Later, some reasons happened and the first-generation divine body died. But now that you said that, I think our experiment may have succeeded. Angel Yen stared at Chen with her eyes, trying to judge whether what he said was true or false. She wanted to forcefully enter Chen's memory database before, but failed. Protection measures of the dream world. It's just an experiment, and the people sent out are all first-generation divine bodies, although the truth of what this person said has yet to be determined. If we really judge based on these, the other party's civilizations should not be a 9th level civilization. Greater than Angel Yen thought to himself. Take me to your civilization. Angel Yen made a decision that was completely out of plan. This is impossible. Chen shook his head, and his eyes revealed determination. If you don't take me, your life will end immediately. My life is far less important than my civilization. Really? What about that empire over there? What do you think will happen if I tell other advanced civilizations about its existence? Angel Yen looked at Chen with interest. She has discovered it. Greater than, however, now that he learned the news, Chen was not so nervous. After all, the threat of a civilization that controls the power of time is far greater than that of an empire that has not yet grown up. If you do this, you will definitely regret it. We will go back to the past and ask you to kill us. Chen's words seem very ordinary, but the meaning revealed is very clear. The civilization behind him is now unable to kill Angel Yen. I don't care. Angel Yen sneered. Chen pretended to be extremely painful, and after some difficult thinking, he took out a space device. This space device can only carry one person. You'd better think carefully whether to go there. Chen pretended to threaten Angel Yen. In fact, the coordinates of this space device had long been set by him to an extremely dangerous place. I believe you have other space devices on you. Angel Yen frowned. I do have some, but they are still space devices that can only carry one person. No need for space devices. You tell me the location, and I will take you directly to fly there. It's useless. The current location of our civilization is not in the known universe, but in the semi-void plane. Only by using this special space device can we get there. Angel Yen was a little shocked, but there was no change in appearance. Okay, then we will go together. No problem. Chen took out another space device. Of course, the location transmitted by this space device was the Shura Civilization. Chen was not worried that Angel Yen could detect the wrongness of this space device. I don't believe that the other party can get rid of the transmission of the space device. After all, the quality of the goods produced by the dream world has always been trustworthy. You go first, I'll go later. Angel Yen lifted the space restriction on Chen. Okay. Chen nodded and pressed the space transmission key. After watching Chen disappear, Angel Yen hesitated for a while. She put an 8th level space product on her body, and that thing did not capture any space trajectory, which means that the other party may have really gone to the semi-void plane. Gritting her teeth, she also pressed the transmission key. Chen was actually betting that Angel Yen would press this key, and the reason for his bet was because he knew from his experience in his previous life that Angel Yen was a very arrogant and self-righteous angel. Not only did he often go out without a contact angel, but the decisions he made were often very risky, and now, he made the right bet. The previous lack of updates was because I had to prepare for the exam. Now that the exam is over, there will be stable and more updates later. Chapter 127, Sky City, Supergiant War Fortress. Where is this place? Angel Yen looked around. It was a dark void with no sound or light. She couldn't see anything, nor could she sense anything. And the most terrifying thing was that she couldn't contact the super god gene in her body, and she couldn't even hear the sound she made. This was the extreme point, and Chen didn't know what was inside. This place had not been discovered by the NPC Civilization yet, and the name was given by the players. But in the previous life, 2 level 8 player civilization armies and 1 level 8 NPC civilization army entered here, adding up to 5 third-generation gods, hundreds of second-generation gods, and tens of thousands of first-generation gods who never came out again. The names of the 2-player civilizations were also eliminated from the rankings at the time, which meant that they had died there. Queen, the left-wing guard has lost contact. Angel Yen rarely carried a contact angel when she went out on a mission, but would only send her position signal every half a day. If she encountered danger, she would send a position signal at a non-specific time, but now she hasn't sent a signal for more than 2 days. Yan lost contact? Keisha stood up from the throne. Yes, she hasn't sent a location signal for 2 days. Keisha fell into silence. In the angel database, Angel Yen's data no longer changed, but Keisha believed that Angel Yen would not die so easily. After all, there was a void engine specially stored in Angel Yen's body. Angel Yen could lose contact in an instant, so either she was attacked and died, or she encountered some strong space transmission and went to a place where there was no way to transmit signals. The last place where the data fluctuated was in that desolate area. There are 2 level 9 civilizations lying side by side. It is not possible to send a large number of angel legions there. It is also easy for me to go there personally. It seems that I can only go to Hizai. In fact, whether it is Angel Yen or Holy Keisha, in dealing with this matter, they themselves did not realize that the choices and decisions they made were very different from the past. Now time is getting tighter and tighter. After returning to Shura Star, Chen sighed. The Sky City will be completed in 3 months. When the time comes, we will install the Star Wall device on it, and then rely on the Sky City to force our way into some ruins, and strive to make the Shura Civilization develop faster. Star Wall device, purchased by Chen on the planet Galbia. It can be installed on large bases, and can resist energy intensity attacks of no more than level 7, second-generation divine body level, for the base. As for those merchants who thought that the Sky City would become the most prosperous place in the entire Shura Empire and wanted to seize business opportunities, they will probably be disappointed this time. The Sky City is indeed relocating all the families of those soldiers, but the families of those who have just surrendered are all relocated, and this Sky City has always been used for fighting. I still need more divine body genes, but unfortunately this kind of thing involves the deepest technology of each civilization, and no civilization will sell it. Chen sighed. At the same time, the most important problem now is the civilizations that have been incorporated. Their loyalty is too big a problem, except for the life forms of the 5 affiliated civilizations that were awarded as rewards in the 5 seasons of qualifying matches, which have high loyalty. The life forms on some planets are even in a state of hatred. Before, I was planning to go to those places in person to patrol in order to improve their loyalty, but now it's too late. Chen sighed. Zhao, pass on my order, and ask those officials to draw up a complete set of plans to increase the welfare of the residents of the Shura Empire before the Tancheng is built, and at the same time let the education department increase the publicity of the loyalty of those children. For those residents who surrendered, Chen could only start with their children first. After all, as long as their children can get a better education in the Shura Empire and are loyal to the Shura Empire, their parents will naturally not be able to cause any rebellion. Oh, and let the business department make more preparations. Forget it, I'd better go in person. When it comes to these major bills that will affect the future development of the Shura Empire, Chen finally decided to do it himself. The overly relaxed development in the past period of time has made him a little inflated and a little slack. Now, both the space behemoth and the angel Yen have reminded him that he still has a lot of things to do. Boom. A planet instantly turned into a sea of fire. You looked at the planet with indifference. The civilization lord of this civilization is indeed very capable. His army and people are very loyal and unwilling to surrender until the last moment of the battle, but their strength is not strong, and it is not worth Yura to spend more energy to persuade them to surrender. So there is this scene in front of us. After many years of fighting, Yura has also grown a lot. Now she has gradually lost a lot of compassion. Many times she will consider problems from a more realistic perspective. Other generals and general backups have also grown a lot. Commander, there are still 3 months before Tanchang is built. My king stipulates that all generals must arrive. I know. Yura waved her general cloak and took a sip of tea. Order the entire army to return to M769 base for repairs. The light blade ship will set sail at full speed and return to Shura Star. Oh, after chasing for 3 days and 3 nights, we finally caught up with them. Jiba breathed a sigh of relief. This is a very powerful player civilization, which can be ranked in the top 10,000 among all player civilizations. The overall military strength is comparable to Jiba's army, but of course the quality is still incomparable. However, in order to reduce losses, Jiba chose to launch a surprise attack, but did not expect that the opponent was well prepared, allowing nearly 1/3 of the opponent's troops to escape. However, after chasing for 3 days and 3 nights, they were finally destroyed. Lieutenant General, my king has ordered you to return to Shura Star within 3 months. Huh? Isn't it just the general who goes back? It's not clear what the situation is for the time being. Okay, I understand. The red long blade cut through the enemy's armor, and the energy wave directly penetrated the opponent's heart. Taeyan, one of the candidates for general, took a deep breath. This group of enemies was a very cunning group of guys. They launched a surprise attack when Taeyan's army approached the asteroid belt. The large warships of the Shura Empire had no way to enter the asteroid belt. They had to send small transport ships and one by one, forcefully landed on the enemy warships and engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the enemy. After a day and a night of hard fighting, they finally defeated the enemy. At this moment, a message suddenly came to his personal genetic computer. Okay, I know. On this day, many generals who were on the expedition received transfer orders from the Shuri main star. The officials of the Shura Empire stayed up all night and discussed the contents of various new bills. 3 months later, the Sky City was finally built. It took several years to build. The war fortress that rose from the ground in the universe and consumed a lot of resources was finally completed. The entire Sky City is in the shape of an inverted cone and is made of metal. 10,000 level 4 space battleships can be stored inside the Sky City. The upper part of the Sky City is the residential area of this war fortress, which covers an area of 225 million square kilometers. Equivalent to a square with a side length equal to the distance from BJ to New York. The height of the entire cone is 20,000 kilometers. This Sky City is parked on the edge of Shura Star. People on Shura Star can feel shocked and even terrified at a glance. This Sky City is actually a branch technology that Chen exchanged from an event before. It is called Supergiant War Fortress. Before, all the resource rewards that Chen received from the qualifying competition, including the top resources from the Universe Emperor, only one person in the highest rank of the qualifying competition can get it, were all invested by Chen in the construction of the Sky City. The reason why Chen is willing to invest so many advanced materials is because this branch technology is growable, and this growth does not correspond to this branch technology itself, but the product of this branch technology. That is to say, this Sky City does not need the advancement of the branch technology itself, and can become more powerful by relying on the continuous enhancement of the weapons and equipment above and the continuous improvement of the quality of materials. And this Sky City, with the addition of top resources, the configuration of 500,000 void bombs, and the installation of Star Wall devices, has become a level 6 supergiant war fortress. Many people may question some of the judgments of the angel civilization above. What I want to say is that Chen's rebirth is by no means accidental, and the dream world is definitely not just a cold game system. Chapter 128 Meeting to Decide the Future. Dear people of the Shura Empire, in the past 20 years, The Shura Empire has developed from a first-level civilization to a civilization that is about to become a fifth-level civilization. Our army has fought everywhere, and I know that many residents were once the people of civilizations that were defeated by our Shura Empire, so I will do my best to make up for you. The Shura Empire will introduce the following 3 bills: the Compensation Bill, the Education Compensation Bill, and the Entrepreneurship Compensation Bill. These 3 bills are all for the people of the defeated civilizations. The Compensation Bill is to provide financial compensation for the loss of your civil rights in this process. If your family members die or are injured in the battle, or if you are injured in the battle, you will receive financial compensation. These are just the most important points. There are many more contents that you can check for yourself. The Education Compensation Bill is specially established for your children. I once again assure you that your children will get high-quality educational resources. The third Entrepreneurship Compensation Bill. During the war, your economy was greatly affected by fluctuations, so he introduced this bill. If you want to start a business, the Shura Empire will provide you with more convenience. These 3 bills have been pinned on the virtual network of the Shura Empire. You can all check them. I promise again that every right promised in the bill will be implemented. This time, the press conference for the completion of the Tancheng was broadcast live to the entire Shura Empire. Many people from the surrendered defeated civilizations who watched this live broadcast immediately exited the live broadcast room and began to carefully check the 3 bills. Then the second thing is that the Shura Empire will completely stop launching wars from today to prepare for the promotion to the 5th level civilization and the upgrade of the overall armaments in the future. Now that the Tancheng has been built, the Shura Empire will also start to explore various ruins through the Tancheng, so as to obtain more resources and technology to help the Shura Empire develop. This incident also shocked many people. The Shura Empire has been waging wars for more than 10 years, and it has hardly stopped during this period. But now it has to stop completely. Some people are naturally very happy because their relatives may be soldiers and no longer face the risk of death, while some are businessmen. More than 10 years of war has caused prices to fluctuate, making their business unstable. Some people were not happy. They might be those who wanted the world to be in chaos, or those who had hoped that the Shura Empire would expand after being mobilized by Chen, or those who relied on war for profit. But no matter what, considering the overall development of the Shura Empire, Chen made this decision and would not change it. Third, during the past 10 years of war, a lot of talents have emerged in the army, and our territory has expanded dozens of times. Therefore, I will initiate a conscription for the entire empire. During this truce, they will receive training and become a qualified soldier. At the same time, I would like to take this opportunity to update all the general officers in the army. Lieutenant General Ji Ba, in the past 10 years, he has conquered a total of 172 civilizations and 4,067 planets. From today, I will award him the rank of general and appoint him as the president of the Yunfi Corps. Lieutenant General Renault, in the past 10 years, he has conquered a total of 154 civilizations and 4,183 planets. From today, I will award him the rank of general and appoint him as the president of the Lingxiao Corps. Lieutenant General Hila, in the past 10 years, he has conquered a total of 112 civilizations and 3,571 planets. From today, I will award him the rank of general and appoint him as the president of the Jianyao Corps. Lieutenant General Mu Bing, in the past 10 years, he has conquered a total of 137 civilizations and 3,987 planets. From today, I will award him the rank of general and appoint him as the commander-in-chief of the Nebula Corps. The above is the appointment of the rank of general. In addition, there are many major generals who have performed very well in the past wars. After verification, they will be awarded the rank of lieutenant general. Major General Haiyu, in the past wars, he performed extremely well. After investigation, from today, I will award him the rank of lieutenant general. Major General Tian, in the past wars, he performed very well and was very brave. After investigation, from today, I will award him the rank of lieutenant general. Major General Yun Yao, His army has won many battles in the past wars. After investigation, I will award him the rank of Lieutenant General from today. In this appointment, Chen appointed 4 generals in one breath, and now the Shura Civilization has 7 generals. Among these 7 generals, Yunnuo still sits in the center to ensure the safety of the central area of the Shura Empire. Himo, Wanger, Jiba, Renault, Liu, and Mu Bing were stationed in 6 directions to ensure the border security of the Shura Empire. At the same time, Chen also appointed 17 lieutenant generals, including 3 candidates for generals. These lieutenant generals have proved their value in countless wars and are absolutely talented generals. In addition, nearly 100 major generals and nearly 300 brigadier generals were appointed. This time, the Shura Civilization army has undergone a complete change. You should know that the number of troops in the Shura Empire has already reached 4 billion, and this time Chen plans to expand it to 20 billion. Among the 16 billion conscriptions, only 2 billion are intended for those who surrendered to the defeated civilization, because their loyalty is not reliable now, and these people will be completely dispersed after entering the army. Everyone, don't you welcome our new 4 generals? After the live broadcast conference ended, in Tancheng, the 8 people with the highest status in the entire Shura Empire gathered together. Of course we have to welcome you. Congratulations to everyone. Yunnuo, the oldest among them, started the conversation. Yes, we have all seen your performance. You are indeed worthy of the title of Admiral. Himo also expressed his welcome. Congratulations. Yura smiled. After seeing the atmosphere getting a little more heated, Chen told them the purpose of calling them together. Everyone, the first reason for calling you here is to explore the ruins. Yura was responsible for the exploration of the ruins before. Some discoveries have indeed been made, but the dangers are very great. Now that the Tancheng has been built, I think it is time to start a thorough exploration of the ruins. Chen opened the virtual projection map, on which there were 12 red dots. These 12 ruins are what I think are worthy of exploration. What I need now is for you to send people to clean up the periphery of these ruins, and then I will drive Tancheng in to clear the way and clear the dangers. But there is a very serious problem now, that is, among these 12 ruins, 8 of them contain intelligent life forms. These intelligent life forms are the guardians of these ruins, and their value is priceless, so they must never be harmed. So I need you to negotiate with these intelligent life forms, but there may very well be 5th-generation super soldiers among them, so there is a high probability of danger in the negotiation process. Of course, if it were just the first thing, I wouldn't have called you over. The second thing is what's really important. Chen then told the admirals present about his recent experiences. Our problem now is that we may face higher-level dangers at any time, but we are not sure whether those dangers exist yet. If we want to face those dangers, we can buy higher-level weapons, but once we do so, other civilizations may think that we have reached the level of a god. A level 6 empire is completely different from a level 5 universe empire. Once we do this, I am sure that we will face extremely terrible dangers. If we don't prepare, there are still many behemoths in the universe like the Star Beast, or if another angel comes to explore, our empire may be destroyed. What do you think? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, The Road to Power. I think that if we compare the dangers that are certain to occur with the dangers that are uncertain, I would rather avoid the dangers that are very certain to occur. Himo said. Yeah. Chen nodded and looked at the other generals. To be honest, I think what we are doing now is quite good. The civilization will steadily develop to the peak of level 5, and then begin to compress and continuously enhance its own foundation. At the same time, we can also buy some high-level divine body slaves and let them attract attention outside. In this way, our Shura Empire can also smoothly pass the difficult period at the beginning of becoming an empire. Mu Bing expressed his thoughts. There were also many generals present who agreed with his words. I have a question. At this time, Yur suddenly spoke up, asked, why does our Shura civilization grow into the Shura Empire? This question surprised many people present. It is to make our civilization develop faster and become stronger at the fastest speed. Jibo answered this question. Okay. Yur nodded. Then what are you avoiding? What are you afraid of? Since we embarked on the road to the Cosmic Empire, these dangers have been with us. We embarked on this road to become stronger, and now we have to suspend our journey to become stronger because of this road. Everyone, don't you think this is ridiculous? I know what kind of dangers we will face, but I know that the only way to face these dangers is to become stronger. If we don't become stronger, even if we are not defeated by these dangers, we will be defeated by more dangers. At least now, we know what dangers we will face when we become stronger, so we can be prepared, and we don't have to face the sudden attack of the Star Beast. We are not even prepared. Yura said a lot of words in one breath. She stood there and looked around at everyone present. Do you know what enemies we will face if we become a level 6 Cosmic Empire? Chen asked her. Level 6, level 7, level 8 and even level 9 civilization. That's right, even level 9 civilization. Aren't you afraid? Chen, why should I be afraid? Yura asked Chen back, her eyes fixed on Chen's eyes. Will those level 9 and level 8 civilizations send all their armies here? No, we are only a level 6 Cosmic Empire, and they will at most send some small teams here. Chen, will a 4th generation divine body like Holy Kesha come here in person? No, that is a treatment only 4th generation divine bodies can enjoy. Chen, well, then, I want to ask, do we need to be afraid of level 6 and level 7 civilizations? No, they are just one level higher than us. With the strength of the Shura Empire, there is no need to be afraid. Chen, since level 8 and 9 civilizations will not send all their armies, but will only send some small teams casually, and we don't need to be afraid of level 6 and 7 civilizations, then even if we become stronger, what do we need to worry about? We need to worry that those level 8 and 9 civilizations will really send high-level people here. This time I successfully dealt with this 3rd generation divine body, but I may not be able to deal with the next one. Chen, but after those battles, we can collect a lot of weapons from level 7 civilizations. Can we deal with them? Yes, but you have to know that the real situation will definitely deviate from what you are saying now, and there will be accidents. Chen, well, is the Star Beast an accident? Yes. At this point, Chen had already smiled. In the question and answer between the two of them just now, the result of this meeting has actually been decided. Chen glanced at everyone present. It seems that the result has come out. Are you willing to accept this result? Yes. All the admirals present accepted the final result. In this case, from now on, I will do everything I can to fully develop the strength of the Shura Empire. If the war really comes, then the consequences, we will bear it together. Hila answered quickly. Yes, we will bear it together. In 21 years, more than half of the explorations of the 12 ruins were successful, and Gainu came to the Shura Empire. In 22, a special situation occurred in the last ruins, causing a large number of deaths, but the exploration was finally successful, and a well-preserved level 6 space battleship was found in it. In 24, the Shura Empire officially became a level 5 civilization. In 25, the 16 billion soldier recruitment plan was completely completed. Heiau, Taian, and Yun Yao all became generals, respectively in charge of the Starseed Corps, the Tailing Corps, and the Holy Sword Corps. In 26, the Shura Empire completely upgraded all soldiers to the level of 1st generation super soldiers. Among them, there are 3 billion 2nd generation super soldiers, 600 million 3rd generation super soldiers, and 100 million 4th generation super soldiers. All space battleships have been upgraded to level 3 space battleships, with a total of 5 million ships, of which 100,000 are level 4 space battleships. In 27, the 5th generation super soldier gene research and development was completed. In 28, Chen went back to Galambia and used a new identity to establish the Shinya Chamber of Commerce and purchased 3 first-generation divine body level slaves. In 29 years, all officers above the rank of lieutenant in Shura Civilization became 5th-generation super soldiers. In 30 years, Ladu and Li Nian, the first captain and vice captain of the royal team, I believe you must have forgotten them, became generals, respectively in charge of the Holy Wing Corps and the Holy Shield Corps. Special event, Starry Sky Rain is launched. There are all kinds of brilliant crystals scattered in the universe, and these crystals have a common name, called Starry Sky Rain. Collecting Starry Sky Rain can earn points, and eventually you can redeem them in the event mall. At the same time, Starry Sky Rain will also be converted into blue diamonds and enter the player's personal account after the event. Chen harvested more than 2 million Starry Sky Rain in this event, and exchanged a large amount of special metals to help provide the combat effectiveness of Cybertron robots. At the same time, he exchanged for a first-generation Divine Body gene again, but this Divine Body gene has not yet been given to anyone. At the same time, the Shura Empire Alliance has become the most prestigious alliance among all players, and Chen can influence all players through his own abilities. In 31 years, the research of the 5th-level space battleship was successful. Chen started a new round of ruins exploration plan. In 32, the first Cybertron robot with the strength of a 5th-generation super soldier was successfully born. The progress of Cybertron robot growth was successfully matched with the current genetic research of Shura Civilization. In 33, Chen bought 10 first-generation Divine Body slaves and 1 second-generation Divine Body slave. In 34, Chen announced the start of the second round of preparations for the war. At this time, all the soldiers of the Shura Empire have become second-generation super soldiers, of which 4 billion are third-generation super soldiers, 800 million are 4th-generation super soldiers, and 100 million are 5th-generation super soldiers. The 3rd-level space battleships have been basically replaced, with only 1 million left, 3.8 million 4th-level space battleships, and 200,000 5th-level space battleships. In 35, the expansion war began. In 36, the 5th-level space technology research was successful. In 37, the Cybertron army had more than 100,000 5th-generation super soldiers. In 38, Ren and Gamin became the new generals, in charge of the Thundercloud Legion and the Galaxy Legion respectively. In 39, the 5th-level civilian technology research was successful. The expansion war ended, and the territory of the Shura Empire tripled again. A new round of conscription plan was launched, and 30 billion soldiers were recruited this time. In 40, Chen achieved the achievement of Eternal Overlord, reaching the rank of Universe Emperor in the qualifying competition for 10 consecutive years, unlocking the question and answer function of the Dream World system. Tancheng 2 was completed. In 41, because the Angel Civilization sent 3 third-generation gods to explore, in an emergency, Chen found the Civilization Stealth device at the trading house. Civilization Stealth device. Erase all traces of your own civilization in the area within 1 month, and cannot be discovered by all existence. In the end, with this device, the Shura Empire survived. In 42, the Shura Empire had 56 billion second-generation super soldier level soldiers, 10 billion third-generation super soldier level soldiers, 3.2 billion fourth-generation super soldier level soldiers, and 800 million 5th-generation super soldier level soldiers. The Cybertron Legion has reached 2 billion personnel, including 1.6 billion 4th-generation super soldiers, 400 million 5th-generation super soldiers, and 2 first-generation divine bodies. There are 8 million 4th-level space battleships and 2 million 5th-level space battleships. There are countless 5th-level, 4th-level, and 3rd-level branch technology products. At the same time, Chen once again purchased 21st-generation Divine Body slaves and 1 2nd-generation Divine Body slave. Tancheng 3 was completed. 3 supergiant war fortresses, all equivalent to the 6th level. In 43, the 6th level supercomputer was successfully researched, and the Shura Empire officially became a 6th-level space empire. This is today's 4th chapter. Chapter 130 Light Particle Life Energy. Mr. Taigu, 3rd-generation divine body slaves are hard to come by. In the universe, apart from angelic and demonic civilizations, there are very few wars that endanger 3rd-generation divine bodies and above. It is difficult for us to even find corpses of 3rd-generation bodies, let alone slaves. The owner of the exchange said to Mo Chen in a coquettish way. Taigu was Mo Chen's current pseudonym on Galbia. Now all exchanges engaged in underground transactions on Galbia know that there is such a person. He is extremely generous and especially likes to buy high-level slaves. Basically, every time a 2nd-generation divine body slave appears at an auction, he will take it away. Moreover, the Shinya Chamber of Commerce under his name is also very scary. In just a dozen years, it has become one of the larger chambers of commerce on Galbia. Okay. Mo Chen shook his head in disappointment and turned to leave. Goodbye, Mr. Taigu. There have been no 3rd-generation divine body slaves in the past 10 years, but it doesn't matter. The current strength of the Shura Empire is enough to face it. Greater than Mo Chen sighed. In fact, the Shura Empire had been vaguely noticed by the Norris civilization several years ago, but the Shura Empire was not a level 6 empire at that time, so the Norris civilization did not take any other actions. Although the Norris civilization has not yet discovered that the Shura Empire has become a level 6 empire, but it is probably not long before it is discovered. Fortunately, the Shura Civilization now has 3 2nd-generation divine bodies and 37 1st-generation divine bodies. Among them are 2 1st-generation divine bodies of Cybertron. Yes, that's right, they are 2 of the 3 angelic semi-mechanical life forms that were dug out at the beginning. Another one seems to have some kind of defect in the fusion process, and the absorption of energy is extremely slow. However, the angelic features of these 3 angelic semi-mechanical life forms have all been removed, but from the outside, they are just relatively petite Cybertron robots. It can be said that the Shura civilization now has the combat power of a level 7 civilization. Coupled with its huge number of troops, the Shura Empire can completely fight against dozens of level 6 civilizations or multiple level 7 civilizations on its own. After all, the 3 Tanchang supergiant war fortresses, due to the limitation of materials and the level of the warships they carried, did not reach the level of the 7th-level war fortresses. The weapons and defense devices on them were all manufactured according to the standard configuration of the 7th-level war fortresses. The combat effectiveness of these 3 Tanchang supergiant war fortresses has definitely reached the level of the 7th level, and may even be above the ordinary 7th-level space battleships. Even if the 8th-level civilization comes, if it is not cautious enough, it will probably suffer a big loss. At this time, a message from the Shura Royal Research Institute was transmitted to Mo Chen. The other party was the chief scientist of the Shura Civilization. Fate. My king, the research on that light particle life form has made a breakthrough. Mo Chen was stunned and quickly opened the system interface. Sure enough, a new branch technology has appeared on the interface of the branch technology. Light particle life energy, level 6, has the initial ability to create and use light particle life energy. Introduction to light particle life energy. This energy can transform life forms into light particle life forms. At the same time, it also exists in the form of life. It can take root in life forms through reproduction and homologize the surrounding energy. Its energy application is often idealistic, using thoughts to apply this energy. At the same time, if you want to use this energy, you must cultivate the light particle life energy in your body. For this reason, light particle life energy can also absorb other light particle life energies to strengthen itself. No wonder no one has been able to successfully research light particle life forms for so many years. Everyone has focused their attention on how to make life forms become light particle life forms through light radiation, but they have never thought that it may not be light radiation that changes the essence of their lives. Mo Chen sighed. After all, even when he was researching, he also fell into a misunderstanding, and he was self-righteous and thought that no one had researched it because of the lack of a lot of experiments. Thinking of this, He had to sigh at the horror of the dream world. After all, if it were not for the forced help of the system, Fate might not have been able to research this technology. At the same time, he was also ecstatic. Light particle life forms are a very powerful existence in themselves, but compared with the amount of light particle life forms, they are nothing. If other civilizations discover that the Shura Empire has mastered such branch technology, even the 9th level civilization may not be able to resist coming to seize it. Chen immediately returned to Shura from Galbia through the space transmission device. How is it, Fate? After returning to Shura, Chen rushed straight to the Shura Royal Research Institute. Ah, my king, look, this is simply a work of art. Fate took out a transparent sealing device. There was a shining golden light body inside, and sometimes it would slowly move its position. Is this the light particle life energy body? Yes, my king. According to the research data you gave me, I found that those light particle life forms seem to be able to transform other people to a certain extent, which means that the energy of those light particle life forms is contagious. At the same time, all previous studies have been on why the light energy released by plasma energy can transform life forms into light particle life forms. But according to my analysis, before the civilization of that light particle life form became light particle life form, their level of civilization may be equivalent to a 5th level civilization. Then what makes the plasma energy tower they created so special? So I suspected the energy used by the plasma energy tower itself. Finally, after a series of studies, I confirmed my guess. The plasma energy tower of the civilization should be loaded with light particle life energy, and then when the plasma energy tower released light, this light particle life energy began to homologize other light energies. Then these light particle life energies parasitized into the bodies of the people of that civilization, causing them to transform into light particle life forms. But the amount of light particle life used by that civilization may be somewhat different from what I have studied now. The light particle life energy homologated by it can directly transform people into light particle life forms. But this one I made may not work. Fate shook the light particle life energy in his hand. Why? Chen asked. This thing is essentially a kind of life. They may mutate, making their effects stronger. The light particle life energy the civilization said they use may be the mutated light particle life energy. And the one in my hand, after taking root in our body, can only allow us to use the light particle life energy in a preliminary way. The power released is probably equivalent to a level 2 weapon, and it may only be equivalent to a level 5 weapon when it is used to the limit. But, Fate paused. The most terrifying thing about this thing is that it can gather with other light particle life energies to release greater energy. That is to say, if everyone in our army has a light particle life energy in their body, then when they actively transfer these light particle life energies to your body, you may be able to directly transform into a light particle life form. But there will be a very strong time limit, and after the transformation is over, those light particle life energies will quickly return to their original hosts. Fate looked at Chen, his face full of excitement and joy, because Fate also knew the dilemma facing the Shura Empire, and the birth of light particle life energy is entirely possible to change this situation. The entire Shura Empire has nearly 100 billion soldiers. If these soldiers gather together and give all their light particle life energy to Chen, nearly 100 billion light particle life energies equivalent to second level weapons gather together. Plus Chen himself is at the level of a first-generation god body. Maybe Moti can directly become a light particle life form equivalent to a second-generation god body. But if those soldiers can use these energies to the level of third-level weapons, then Chen may be able to directly become a third-generation god body. By analogy, the terrifying degree of this light particle life energy is beyond doubt. However, this is only a fantasy after all. The light particle life energy can indeed absorb the energy of the same source, but the problem is that it also has a conversion rate. Under the current conditions, if the light particle life energy in Chen's body reaches the level of a 5th level weapon, then through conversion, Chen can only reach the light particle life form equivalent to the third generation divine body level at most. But even so, With the energy equivalent to the third-generation divine body level as a trump card, the Shura Empire will not lag far behind their enemies in terms of high-end combat power. Chapter 131 The Storm is Coming. Fate opened the transparent device. Chen picked up the light particle life energy. This light particle life energy has almost become an instinct for parasitism. When it was discovered that there was no other light particle life energy in Chen's body, this light particle life energy immediately parasitized into Chen's body. This feeling is very wonderful, as if another life suddenly appeared in your body, and you can fully feel his existence. He is like another heart in your body, beating in your body and releasing light energy. If this is just an ordinary person, then these light energies will subtly change that person's body. Now the energy converted by this light particle life energy is only equivalent to a second-level weapon. It can only make people strong and healthy, and if the energy it releases reaches the level of a fifth-level weapon, it can turn an ordinary person into a super soldier directly. Fate. Is the production rate of this light particle life energy high? It's hard to say. If it is homogenized with other energies, the quality of the homogenized energy will decrease, but the speed can be guaranteed. But now the energy level of this light particle life energy itself is still relatively low, and the conversion speed is not very fast. But if it is reproduced, the speed will be very slow, but the quality may get better and better. But if it is produced by itself, it may take a year to make one. Fate answered truthfully. Then is it possible for the quality of the light particle life energy that has been implanted in the body to be improved? Chen had just implanted the light particle life energy when he heard this situation and asked immediately, yes, as long as it is exposed to light particle life energy of higher quality for a long time, its quality will also be improved. Okay, then tell me what the speed of homologation and reproduction is. Homologation of one light particle life energy can produce 1000 in a day, and if it is to be reproduced, it takes about 3 years for two male and female light particle life energies that have entered the mature stage to breed. In other words, this light particle life energy cannot actually be put into use on a large scale now. Chen suddenly spoke. Yes. The excitement on Fate's face gradually disappeared. I'm sorry, my king. This light particle life energy may not be able to help us quickly in the war. It's okay. Chen patted Fate's shoulder. Although he was a little disappointed, the strength of the light particle life energy was a fact. You have done very well this time. The war that our Shura Empire is about to face is just an extra layer of protection for this third-generation divine body level combat power. Without this layer of protection, our Shura Empire can also win the war. The matter about the light particle life energy has come to an end for the time being. After all, the biggest problem facing the Shura Empire now is the upcoming war. Just like that, another 2 years have passed. But these 2 years have never been peaceful. The Shura Civilization has conducted many explorations here, and various signs indicate that the other party is about to send troops. The war will probably start within 1 or 2 months. Chen and his guess is indeed correct. The Shura Civilization has sent a reserve army of its own civilization, leading 15 6th-level subordinate civilizations and 2 7th-level subordinate civilizations. The army has been slowly heading towards the Shura Empire. As for the Shura Empire, the Shura Civilization has been observing it for nearly 10 years. In fact, they don't pay much attention to the strength of the Shura Empire. After all, to them, the 6th-level empire is just a slightly stronger ant. When the war broke out more than 10,000 years ago, the Shura Civilization was only a level 7 civilization, and it was not even here. They migrated here after becoming a level 9 civilization in order to avoid competing with other level 9 civilizations. Although the war more than 10,000 years ago was very terrible, it did not have much impact on them. This led to the fact that although they knew the danger of the empire, they did not take it seriously. They did not even tell other level 9 and level 8 civilizations about what happened here. 3 days later, the player forums and chat channels were extremely lively, because at this time the army of the Shura Civilization had entered the player's sphere of influence, and such a large number of troops could not be unnoticed by the players. Of course, The army of the Norse civilization also knew that they had been discovered by these low-level civilizations, but they didn't care at all. Perhaps in their eyes, if an army of their size went there, the level 6 empire would not be able to resist it at all, and there would be no problem even if it was known. At the same time, it could also deter the various other civilizations in this area. They are coming. In the combat meeting room, Chen looked at everyone present and said very seriously, there were 10 admirals present, and their armies had already set out to Shura Star. The other 4 admirals and their armies were responsible for guarding other areas, so they attended the meeting here through virtual projection. The other side has about 15 million space battleships. However, the vast majority of them are still level 5 space battleships, and there are even level 4 space battleships mixed in. These 4 space battleships, as well as these 2 war fortresses and these 6 war robots should all be level 7 combat power, and the number of their 2-body divine bodies is not yet certain. But the only good news is that in addition to those affiliated civilization armies, the army sent by the Norse civilization should be a reserve army, and the reserve army often does not have level 8 combat power. Of course, I can't guarantee that the other side will not send a 3rd-generation divine body here to supervise the battle. Relying on the player forum and the world channel, Chen has a lot of image data. At the same time, based on the enemy's current marching route and the undisguised marching method, I think the enemy may want to defeat us completely in one go through a frontal battle. Chen informed the generals present of all kinds of intelligence. My king, the enemy's strength and numbers are higher than ours. I think if we want to defeat them, there are only 2 ways. One is to attack them by surprise and consume them. In the direction of their advance, we can set up a large number of traps to consume their troops. The second is to disperse, let the enemy's troops disperse, and then we can defeat them one by one. I pointed out 2 ways for the Shura Empire to resist the enemy in general. This method may not work. Nuo shook his head. Look at their army deployment. Although the subordinate civilizations are separated, each of them has a level 7 combat force deployed there. Look at their marching speed. There is basically no delay. This means that although the Norse civilization despises us, the goal of these troops sent down is indeed to fight quickly. If we want to launch a sneak attack, there is a level 7 combat force in each place, and it is difficult for us to succeed in the sneak attack. And if we want to disperse, the other party may not care about our bait at all, but go straight to Huanglong. Although Nuo has been in the central government for many years, he is very good at observation. I think that maybe we don't need to be so roundabout. Our frontal combat power may be higher than that of the other party. Everyone present looked at the person who spoke at the first time. Unexpectedly, it was not Taiyan who said this, but Yun Yao. We are indeed inferior to the opponent in terms of numbers, but over the years, our soldiers have been equipped with various branch technologies that increase their power. My king has said before that ours are equipped with a lot of branch technologies. In terms of combat effectiveness, there are few comparable ones in the same level, and we also have various branch technologies in terms of technological weapons, which complement each other. In addition to the opponent's level 7 combat power, we don't actually need to worry. Yun Yao explained the reasons why he thought he could fight head-on. After all, it is a level 9 civilization. We still can't underestimate their military strength, but in my opinion, the head-on strength of both sides is actually not that different. Gainu, have you tried that set of star-driven armor? Chen looked at Gainu. In fact, in addition to the generals, there were 3 second-generation divine body slaves bought by Chen and Zyuzi, the wandering prince with the first-generation divine body gene from the ghost pupil civilization. Zyuzi is now a first-generation divine body, and has also become a lieutenant general of the Shura Empire. I have tried it. By driving the power of the stars, I can now release the destructive power equivalent to that of an 8th-level space battleship. Very good. I will give you 10 space devices in a few days. What you have to do then is to stay by the star, obtain energy for the star-driven armor, and finally wait for instructions. Once the instructions come, immediately use the space transmission device to go to the designated location to release the attack, and then come back immediately. Remember that you must not be discovered by the other party that you have the level of a second-generation divine body. Yes, Ganyu solemnly accepted this task. Shuzi, here, after decades of time, Xiuzi has gradually recognized Mo Chen. Maybe now even if Mo Chen helps him restore his clan, he will lead his civilization to join the Shura Empire. Your mission this time is very dangerous. I want you to lurk in the enemy's army, with your ability to shield electrical signals, obtain the enemy's distribution location, and then transmit the news back to the Shura Empire. This is Mo Chen's sneak attack plan. Xiuzi and Ganyu, one reports the point, and the other bombs, so as to minimize the number of enemy troops. Yes, very good. Then the next step is to discuss the strategic deployment. Chapter 132 Sneak Attack. Under Mo Chen's deployment, the Shura Empire's army was arranged in a 3-iron gate style. It was composed of 3 layers of defense, and the guards of the 3 lines of defense were increasing. In the process of defense, the first 2 layers will focus on eliminating the enemy's number and will not stop the enemy's advance. When the enemy attacked the 3rd line of defense, the army of the first 2 lines of defense and the army of the 3rd line of defense will encircle the enemy. In order to ensure the smooth progress of the plan, Mo Chen sent a large number of first-generation divine bodies of the Shura Empire to the 1st and 2nd lines of defense, while all the 2nd-generation divine bodies and the San Titan Chen supergiant war fortresses were stationed in the 3rd line of defense. What they want to ensure is that the enemy must not tear the 3rd line of defense, and at the same time get entangled with the enemy's 7th-level combat power, so that the enemy cannot break through. Mo Chen does not intend to destroy the enemy's entire army with one encirclement. The main purpose of each encirclement is to capture the enemy's 7th-level warships and 2nd-generation divine bodies. The encirclement, originally composed of 1 or 2 lines of defense, was mainly to reduce its own casualties, and then kill the enemy. If the enemy wants to break through, they only need to offer a small resistance. Yes, Mo Chen's tactics are so rogue. From the beginning, his goal was to keep an eye on the enemy's 7th-level combat power. He even bought 100 slave collars that can enslave the 1st and 2nd generations of bodies on the planet Galbia. The current Shura Empire has no way to cultivate a 7th-level combat power by its own strength, so it can only rely on capture and plunder. Limited time mall update. The system's prompt sound suddenly sounded in Mo Chen's mind. The limited time mall is updated once a week, but in fact, most of the things in it are void bombs, and some other things that are not very precious. In the early days, there were still people buying them. Until now, maybe only Mo Chen is still buying them, and he doesn't buy them every time. But Mo Chen still clicked in. But this time the things inside made Mo Chen extremely excited. First generation space ability divine body gene, 1 million divine diamonds. First generation star ability divine body gene, 1 million divine diamonds. First generation phantom body ability divine body gene, 1 million divine diamonds. First generation concealment ability divine body gene, 1 million divine diamonds. The God-locking chain, 1 can be used to enslave objects with no more than 3 generations of divine bodies. 10 million divine diamonds. The Dream Realm seemed to know that among other players, only Mo Chen was still buying in the limited time mall, and he was still facing a crisis. Very considerately, he swiped out things that were impossible to swipe out under normal probability in one go. However, Mo Chen did not buy them immediately. When the excitement in his heart dissipated, he fell into deep thought. Mo Chen clicked on the system question and answer function. System, tell me, why do you want to help me? All events in this game are based on probability, and no help will be provided to individuals. Well, then tell me why I was reborn. The system does not have enough authority, and the result cannot be adjusted for the time being. Insufficient authority? Mo Chen's brows were furrowed. He didn't know why the other party would answer him with the words inadequate authority. Unless, Mo Chen had a guess in his mind. That is, the dream world is the dream world, and the game system is the game system. These two things are divided into superiors and subordinates, and the dream world is the superior of the game system. The two are obviously of the same origin, but the meaning expressed by the other party is very obvious. It is the dream world that does these things. What does it have to do with my game system? Chen sighed, but did not say much. In fact, although the other party did not say it, he already knew that it was the dream world that did all this. Sooner or later, the other party will tell him the answer. As for now, anyway, there are benefits, so of course it would be a waste not to take it. Chen bought all 5 items. Now, with the first generation divine body gene obtained from the previous event, Chen already has 5 first-generation divine body genes. Chen does not plan to use these first-generation divine body genes to create 5 more first-generation divine bodies. After all, given the current situation, there is no point in having a few more first-generation divine bodies. If these genes are used as rewards, it can stimulate those warriors and make them burst out with more combat power. The effect will be better. Just like that, a few days later, the date of the sneak attack plan arrived. Gainu will carry 100,000 level 6 bombs each time, using space-related cosmic treasures, and blast them with stellar energy after arriving at the designated location. Chen prepared a total of 20 space devices and 1 million level 6 bombs for Gainu, provided by the Shenya Chamber of Commerce. The business that Chen's Shenya Chamber of Commerce does on the planet Galbia is the arms business. After opening the market with the Void Bomb in the early days, it began to resell arms. P.S. For this war, Chen has almost emptied the entire Shenya Chamber of Commerce. If everything goes well, this sneak attack will cause the opponent to lose between 2 million and 3 million warships. It may even kill several first-generation divine bodies or level 6 space battleships. Gainu, who was recuperating on the side of the star, received the coordinates sent by Zyuzi. He immediately opened the space device, directly input the coordinates, and transmitted them. In just a blink of an eye, Gainu arrived at the location. There were densely packed space battleships here. It was a military area of a level 6 affiliated civilization of the Norris civilization, but Gainu didn't have the heart to admire these battleships here. The moment he arrived, he scattered all the 100,000 level 6 bombs, and then detonated the stellar energy accumulated in them through the star drive device on his body. Then he immediately returned to his original star position through the space device. It took no more than 5 seconds to go back and forth, but it caused a very terrible explosion. The bombs prepared by Chen were all the fastest flying among the level 6 bombs. It took Gainu about 2 seconds from releasing them to letting them explode. These 2 seconds were enough for them to fly over half the distance of the warships of this civilization. Almost all of the warships of this civilization were contained within the range of the explosion, and because these warships did not turn on the energy shield in order to reduce energy consumption, so not only the warships in the core area of the explosion were destroyed, but also many warships in the edge area were severely affected. Just this sneak attack successfully destroyed nearly 400,000 space warships, and the remaining more than 600,000 space warships of this civilization were also damaged to varying degrees. Many warships looked like they could still fly, but in fact, their combat capabilities were almost gone. And the most important point is that the second-generation divine body stationed here was exactly in the center of the explosion. Although he did not die, he was also seriously injured. This sneak attack immediately put the two Norris civilization armies into a state of high alert. Even the originally fast sailing speed began to slow down. But even so, those space battleships could not keep the energy shields open for 24 hours a day. In addition to the problem of energy supply, the damage to the energy shield device caused by excessive use is also an important problem. So basically every 10 hours, the energy shields of these space battleships will be cooled for 1 hour, but in order to minimize the loss when attacked by surprise, therefore, the cooling time of each battleship is different. Therefore, Zyuzi can no longer exploit the loophole that the opponent did not open the energy shield. He can only report the point normally and let Gainu to explode. And this time, The adjustment of the Norse civilization is indeed effective. The damage caused by Ganyu's 3 subsequent attacks was much smaller. The total damage of the 3 attacks barely exceeded the number of battleships destroyed in the first attack. Bang! In the command ship of the reserve army of the Norse civilization, Urad, the commander of this reserve army, slammed the door hard and cursed. Damn it, how did they do it? Our warships can't detect any space fluctuations at all. But those bastards just came and left like this. They only left behind one explosion after another. Section exclamation mark a swear word from the Norse civilization. No, this can't go on. I have to find a way to attract him here and then keep him. Oh, that space cage. Urad suddenly remembered something and left the command room in ecstasy. Chapter 133 The Collapse of Urad. Another chance. The coordinates have been sent to you. Zyuzi sent Gainu a coordinate again. This time, the target of the sneak attack was the weakest one among all the 6th level civilizations, and was ordered to march to the front to station. Okay, no problem. After receiving the coordinates, Gainu immediately set out again, but this time may be different from usual, because in that 6th level civilization army, there are actually 3 second-generation divine bodies and 2 7th-level combat robots waiting in full battle array. When Gainu arrived, he immediately felt something was wrong, because it was too quiet, as if all the warships here were waiting for his arrival. But the defense shield was not turned on, in order to prevent the person being attacked and the person reporting the location from discovering the abnormality. They did not turn on the defense shield during the high-speed advance and after arriving at the destination. After all, when advancing at high speed, turning on the defense shield will only affect the energy output, and after arriving at the destination, there is no need to turn on the energy shield. But when he just scattered all the bombs, he immediately felt a strong sense of spatial restraint. Space cage. Gainu reacted immediately, but he did not panic at all, but released stellar energy as usual. When he released stellar energy, a large number of attacks came at him, but they were all blocked by a special barrier. This was also the void barrier that Chen specially purchased. It can withstand all attacks of level 8 and below, but it can only last for a few seconds. In this way, Chen spent the money equivalent to 100,000 level 6 bombs. But it is indeed meaningful. It is precisely relying on this void barrier that Gainu can withstand a wave of attacks. As for the space cage, in the space transmission device, its imprisonment is currently useless. So after 2 seconds of bombing, Urad felt a strong stellar energy coming from it, and the previous attacks did not kill him. Quickly retreat. Although many of the bombs released by the opponent before had been blocked, this stellar energy carrying the attacks they released before was definitely not inferior to the previous explosions. But Urad was caught in the explosion before he left a long distance. Urad opened his eyes. At this time, he was already soaked in the recovery fluid because his injuries were too serious. At the same time, the war damage of this war was also sent to him. 550,000 warships were destroyed, 2 level 7 war robots were half scrapped, and 3 second-generation divine bodies were all seriously injured. The losses this time were even more serious than the first attack. He never thought that the firepower that was enough to kill the 3rd-generation divine body could not kill a person sent by the level 6 Empire to sneak attack in an instant. And even the space cage could not keep that guy. Pass the order. The whole army rests on the spot and prepares to build the big insect bridge. Yes, that's right. Let everyone cheer up and do their best to find the person who reported the location to the other party in our army. The other party is most likely a 1st-generation divine body with the ability to hide. Yes, Urad sighed. Now the march has just passed halfway, but 1.5 million space battleships have been destroyed, and many level 7 combat forces have been seriously damaged. And all this was caused by the sneak attacker. However, Urad did not feel that he needed to retreat or seek reinforcements, because it was the opponent's crazy sneak attack that told him that on the front battlefield, the opponent could not compete with his army. As for Zyuzi, although he was only a one-body god, he was wearing the 7th level stealth armor that Chen bought for him. He did not attack himself, but just hid in the corner and secretly observed the opponent's position. So even if the army outside Norris searched for many days in a row, they could not find him. After that, Gainu launched sneak attacks many times, which made the army of Norris civilization miserable. The representatives of those affiliated civilizations also became emotional. After all, it was their army that was attacked every time. This made Urad's resentment towards Gainu and the Shura Empire even deeper. He wanted to wait for the Great Insect Bridge to be built, so that he could directly attack through space migration and defeat the entire empire. Because of some unknown peculiarity of this barren area, the big insect bridge built by the NPC civilization here has a very short maintenance time. It is very likely that it was damaged after only one use. Therefore, NPC civilization generally does not build a big insect bridge here, and the player civilization will not have this situation. After all, such a loss is far higher than their original estimate. On the other hand, Chen naturally knew that the Norris civilization was building a big insect bridge, but in order to gain time to the greatest extent and to cause the greatest blow to the opponent's morale, Chen left Gainu with one last sneak attack opportunity, intending to destroy the big insect bridge when it was about to be built. 2 days later, General, the big insect bridge can be built today. Yes, Ullet nodded, but he felt a strong sense of uneasiness in his heart. It has been more than 10 days since the last attack, which makes many people feel that the other party will not attack again. After all, the means and attack capabilities shown by the other party, they do not believe that they were developed by the empire itself. And if it is obtained from ruins and other places, there must be a limit. Now more than 10 days have passed, and no attack has been launched. I am afraid that all the weapons have been used up. However, just when the Great Insect Bridge was about to be completed, a black shadow suddenly appeared, and then, a huge explosion occurred. Damn it, I will definitely overthrow your empire completely, Urad roared angrily. Chapter 134, Great Victory. The enemy has entered the defense range of the first line of defense. After the Great Insect Bridge was destroyed, the Norris Corps led by Urad rushed towards the Shura Empire at full speed like a mad dog, all artillery fire ready. On the number 1 defense line, the commander-in-chief of the number 1 defense line, Renault, also began to act. All troops sprint. Tear this defense line in one breath. The Norris civilization army, which had finally arrived here, also burst out with amazing combat power. The hatred caused by the multiple attacks and the destruction of the Great Insect Bridge made them almost fearlessly charge towards the number 1 defense line. On this battlefield, violent explosions can be seen everywhere, and countless warships are turned into fragments here. The enemy has broken through the first line of defense, and the second line of defense is ready. Jiba, Yun Yao, and Liu Nian, who were stationed on the second line of defense, immediately cheered up. Sure enough, soon a powerful army rushed over. At this time, the number of warships of this army was only more than 11.5 million space warships. At the beginning, they lost less than 3 million ships in the sneak attack, and another 500,000 ships in the first line of defense. The current Norris civilization army no longer has the strength it once had. Only bombard the most densely populated areas of the enemy, and don't resist them from breaking through the defense line. The defensive military strength and defensive firepower of the second line of defense have been upgraded to a higher level. Although it did not stop them from breaking through the defense line, after breaking through this line of defense, Urad could clearly feel that the number of his troops had dropped sharply, but he didn't care. The first 2 lines of defense gave him the feeling that these enemies were not so powerful in combat. If there hadn't been the previous sneak attack, his army could have easily torn all these lines of defense apart. However, they soon entered the defense range of the third line of defense. The firepower of the third line of defense was far superior to that of the first 2 lines of defense. The army of the Norris civilization began to feel very much pressure as soon as they entered their defense range. Report: the front-line troops are under strong fire suppression. How is it possible? Urad couldn't believe it, but the increasing number of destroyed warships told him that this was the truth. Report: the enemy has a supergiant war fortress with level 7 firepower. How many? 3. How is it possible? Could it be that this empire really got the relics of the destroyed empire? After hesitating for a while, Urad took out his weapon and decided to go to the front battlefield in person. After all, a supergiant war fortress with level 7 firepower is very terrifying in an interstellar war, and the Divine Body assault tactic is the best way to deal with such a supergiant firepower turret. The enemy's second-generation Divine Bodies have begun to move towards Artanchang War Fortress. After discovering the Divine Bodies with higher energy indexes, Zhao immediately reported the situation to Chen. Very good. I understand. Chen led 3 second-generation Divine Bodies to meet the enemies attacking the War Fortress. With the Super Combat Power Enhancement card sold in the God Diamond Mall, Chen's own physical ability was upgraded to the second-generation Divine Body level, and all the branch technologies on his body were upgraded by 1 level. This upgrade can last for 1 day. The opponent has a total of 6 second-generation Divine Bodies, and Chen and Gainu are responsible for 2 respectively. Chen's own strength is basically invincible among the first-generation Divine Bodies. Now that all the branch technology products have also risen by 1 level, his combat power will also be higher than most of the second-generation Divine Bodies. Gainu has a star-driven armor, and now the war is being carried out on the edge of the star, so he also has the ability to fight 1 against 2. Urad and others also discovered Chen and other 4 second-generation Divine Bodies at the first time. This made Urad curse the intelligence department of the Norris civilization in his heart. All the strengths shown by the opponent so far have reached the level of the 7th level empire, but in the end, the intelligence department of the Norris civilization said that this is just a new 6th level empire that has just mastered a 6th level supercomputer and may have 1 or 2 first-generation Divine Bodies. But even if he cursed in his heart, it was useless. The war had already begun, and both sides had to continue fighting. Avoid those second-generation Divine Bodies. On the interstellar battlefield, the 3 level 7 war fortresses are far more useful than them. Although he hated the Norris civilization to the core, and among that group of people was the one who had been attacking them, Urad was the commander of this legion after all, and he could still distinguish what was important on the battlefield. However, the second-generation Divine Bodies of the Norris civilization wanted to avoid the battle, but the second-generation Divine Bodies of the Shura Empire did not intend to do so. Since the firepower of the Norris civilization's army on the battlefield had been temporarily suppressed by the Shura Empire, the second-generation Divine Bodies of the Norris civilization would have to face greater firepower pressure if they wanted to get close to the Tancheng supergiant combat fortress. This also led to the fact that the second-generation Divine Bodies of the Norris civilization were stopped by the second-generation Divine Bodies of the Shura Empire before they could get close to the Tancheng supergiant combat fortress. With the help of his star-driven armor, Ganyu continued to use the star energy. As long as one of the 2 second-generation Divine Bodies fighting with him wanted to leave, there would be an attack comparable to the main gun of the 7th level space battleship hitting the opponent. Chen used his spatial ability to forcibly pull the 2 second-generation Divine Bodies to fight with them. 10 second-generation Divine Bodies began to fight on the battlefield with continuous gunfire. What's interesting is that although one side had an advantage in the number of Divine Bodies, it was always suppressed. This is because the Divine Bodies of the Norris civilization did not want to fight with the Divine Bodies of the Shura Empire at all, but just wanted to get rid of the opponent in front of them quickly. But the more they thought about it, the lower their combat ability would be. At the same time, because the Divine Body raid plan of the Norris civilization failed to be realized, the 7th level battleships and combat robots of the Norris army could only take on the task of facing the 3 Tancheng supergiant war fortresses. The high-end combat forces fought each other hard, but the ordinary grassroots combat forces of the Norris civilization had begun to feel fatigued after breaking through 2 lines of defense in succession. However, due to the advantage in numbers, from the current point of view, although the Norris civilization suffered more casualties than the Shura Empire, they were still evenly matched. But this situation did not last long. The original first and second lines of defense immediately joined the third line of defense to encircle the Norris civilization army. Damn it! Urad stared at Gainu in front of him fiercely. It was this man who had been attacking him before, and now he was holding him tightly. But he had no other choice. He had planned to stop Gainu by force and let another second-generation divine body beside him rush to destroy the supergiant war fortresses. However, the result was that the second-generation divine body was injured by Gainu with a stellar energy shock. Now there are only 2 people left, and they may not be able to defeat the opponent in front of them even if they use their full strength. Break through the siege. Urad knew that this war could no longer be fought, and breaking through to ensure the current living force was the best choice. With Urad's order, the adjutant of the Norris Reserve Army simply identified that the defense on the first and second lines of defense was weaker. Immediately, the whole army was ordered to break out in the direction of the first and second lines of defense. However, during the breakout process, ordinary warships could easily pass through without any obstruction, but all the level 7 warships and combat robots were blocked. Urad also noticed this phenomenon, and he immediately yelled at Gainu. Do you know what the consequences of doing this are? Although the level 7 combat power is not considered to be the high-end combat power of the Norris civilization, it is also the backbone. For the Norris civilization, it is a very unacceptable situation to attack such an empire and lose multiple level 7 combat power. Even if we don't do it, you won't let us go. Gainu sneered and ignored Urad's threat. At the same time, since the first and second lines of defense did not block the ordinary combat power of the Norris army, the army of the Norris civilization quickly completed the breakout. In order to ensure that these breakout troops would not in turn encircle the Shura Empire's army to rescue their level 7 combat power trapped inside, Chen simply sent 4 or 5 of the army to pursue the enemy's army. After all, even if only 1/5 of the army was used to deal with these 10 or so level 7 combat forces, it would be enough. However, level 7 combat forces were still level 7 combat forces, and in the end, 2 level 7 space battleships, 2 level 7 combat robots, and a second-generation divine body escaped. But the remaining 5 second-generation divine bodies, 3 level 7 combat robots, 2 level 7 space battleships, and 2 level 7 war fortresses all became the spoils of the Shura Empire. Chapter 135 The Second Dungeon Scroll. You hid really well. Urad looked at Chen fiercely, his anger overflowing. If your army was not so arrogant, if you were not so angry when you attacked, maybe we would not have won this victory so easily, let alone such rich spoils. Chen smiled faintly at Urad. Even if we win this war, the information of our defeat and your combat power have been sent back to the Norris civilization. Next time, you will definitely perish. Chen shook his head. He didn't plan to talk to this person anymore, because it was unnecessary. In the previous life, the Norris civilization and the Sampton civilization, the 2 level 9 civilizations closest to the player area, were also the first to be broken by the players. So Chen knew the strength of the Norris civilization very well. This civilization only has 1 level 9 combat power, which is a level 9 single soldier combat mecha. At the same time, there are conflicts between the Norris civilization and the Sampton civilization for many years, but the Sampton civilization happened to have 2 level 9 combat powers. Therefore, it is impossible for the Norris civilization to send a level 9 combat force here, and the Norris civilization has only 16 level 8 combat forces in total, 6 divine bodies, 8 warships, and 2 branch technology combat robots. Due to the small number, if the Norris civilization really wants to send a level 8 combat force here, it will not exceed 2. The Sampton civilization is also unlikely to send troops to help. You know, in the previous life, when the Norris civilization was besieged by players, it was almost completely defeated when Sampton remembered the principle of lips and teeth being cold and came to support. It forced the Norris civilization to survive for 3 years. 3 years later, both the Sampton civilization and the Norris civilization were completely destroyed. And if the Norris civilization notified other level 9 and level 8 civilizations, the other party would first watch the Norris civilization's excitement, and would not directly send troops. After all, in the universe, the wars between these civilizations have always been cold-blooded. The only one who might send troops is the Angel civilization. This is also what worries Mo-Chen the most. Angel Yen disappeared here before, and now a cosmic empire has popped up here, and it also has a level 7 combat power. Anyone with a normal brain can guess that Angel Yen's disappearance has a certain relationship with this cosmic empire. A left-wing guard fell here, and it is difficult to guarantee the Holy Keshaw will not be angry and send a level 9 combat power here. After all, their number one enemy, the demon civilization, was just defeated by them not long ago. They now have enough manpower to uphold justice in various parts of the universe, and Mo-Chen's worries are destined to be over-concerned, because the current lord of the North civilization has never thought of informing other level 9 civilizations of this news. When he learned that his front-line troops were defeated and that this cosmic empire also had a certain level 7 combat power, his first reaction was that this cosmic empire had found a relic of the cosmic empire back then. So many level 9 civilizations didn't find these things here at the beginning, but now they have been inherited by a cosmic empire. What does this mean? This means that this cosmic empire is likely to inherit the most important legacy of the empire back then. As for the most important legacy of a cosmic empire that can compete with 2/3 of the divine civilizations in the entire universe, no civilization would be unmoved. After repeated consideration, the king of the North civilization, Jidaraka, decided to send 4 level 8 combat forces and 20 level 7 combat forces to play it safe. After all, he did not dare to guarantee whether the Shura Empire would have any other hidden combat forces. Mo-Chen did not know that 300 years before the player civilization conquered the Norse civilization in his previous life, the Norse civilization had a small-scale civil strife and lost 4 level 8 combat forces. Mo-Chen took out the slave collar he had bought specially. You can't do this." The moment he saw the slave collar, Urad was completely scared. "You have no choice." In this way, Mo-Chen had 5 more second-generation divine bodies under his command. As for the damaged space battleships and war robots, Mo-Chen put them into the heart of the Star Sea and planned to take them to the Galbia planet for repair. The current Shura Empire certainly does not have the technological conditions to repair them, but some chambers of commerce on the planet Galbia have such capabilities. At this time, he suddenly received a message from a friend. "Yunfeng, boss, we have obtained a special item in our auction house, but we don't know what the special item is for, and there are also usage requirements." The player himself needs to have reached the level of a 5th-generation super soldier. Huh? Mo-Chen was stunned for a moment. Generally speaking, he no longer cares about the information between players. Only Yunfeng was communicating with him. After all, the Shura Empire has undoubtedly become the largest force among the players. Almost all alliance activities are for the Shura Empire to eat meat and other alliances to drink soup. However, Mo-Chen still chose to take a look at what the item is. Scroll of Unknown Use. Use restrictions on 5th-generation super soldiers. It was a rather sloppy name for the item, but the outline of this item made Mo-Chen feel like he had seen it somewhere before. Wait, some impressions suddenly flashed through Mo-Chen's mind, but they were not so clear. Mo-Chen decided to call up his memory database. Soon he realized what it was. The appearance of this item was exactly the same as the copy scroll he bought at the beginning. Mo-Chen immediately took it out from the auction house. "Do you want to use the scroll of unknown purpose?" "Yes." "Congratulations on obtaining the special item copy scroll, the Cadyman Battle." "The Cadyman Battle?" Mo-Chen had no impression of this war. "But I don't think it will be an unknown war." So Mo-Chen simply went to Galbia Star directly. He planned to find out the Cadyman Battle and repair all the level 7 warships and combat robots. The Cadyman Battle. This was a battle that took place in the Second Physical War. The Chen body was mainly dominated by the Angel Civilization, and the First Physical War was dominated by the Chen Civilization. The two sides were the Nappa Civilization, Triangle Body, and the Angel Civilization, Chen Body, the Salient Civilization, Chen Body, and the Jirk Civilization, Chen Body. This war was the third battle that broke out in the Second Physical War. At that time, the Angel Civilization had just become a level 9 civilization, while the Salient Civilization and the Jelk Civilization were both level 8 civilizations. The Napa Civilization on the Triangle side was an old level 9 civilization. At the same time, it was the victory of this war that laid the foundation for the Angel Civilization to finally win the physical war. After opening this dungeon, the player will become a warrior on the side of the Salient Civilization. The final points will be calculated based on the number of enemies killed and the battlefield situation. Points can be exchanged for all the props that appear in this dungeon. So it was a battle that took place during the physical war. There are multiple level 9 civilizations in this universe, and among these level 9 civilizations there are Chen Civilization, Beast Civilization, and Triangle Civilization. So in the background of this universe, the physical war is much more cruel than in the anime. The sign that Chen Civilization finally won the physical war is that the number of Chen Civilization level 9 civilizations exceeds the total number of Beast Civilization level 9 civilizations and Triangle Civilization level 9 civilizations. And in this process, 6 level 9 civilizations were destroyed. Chen realized that this would be his best chance to obtain the 2nd generation physical gene, or even the 3rd generation divine body gene. If he gets the 3rd generation divine body gene, he can use the super combat power enhancement card in the divine diamond wall to forcibly increase his combat power to the 4th generation divine body level, even if it is the worst level among the 4th generation divine bodies. Under the current situation of the universe, the Shura Empire already has the ability to survive. All the 9th level civilizations in the universe are making a layout, so there will be a large number of 8th and 9th level civilizations in the Chiwu star system to fight a life and death battle. Do you want to enter the Catwoman battle? Yes. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Pre-War Preparation. The Catwoman battle is different from the previous Black Crescent battle. The Black Crescent battle was fought on a planet, while the Catwoman battle was fought in the universe. The concept of divine body was first proposed by Chen Civilization and carried forward by Angel Civilization. The 3rd generation of divine body was first developed by Chen Civilization, while the 4th generation of divine body was first developed by Angel Civilization. For the development of the plot of this book, some changes have been made to the timeline. Chen Civilization disintegrated 50,000 years ago. Kesha defeated Hui 60,000 years ago. The first physical war, the protagonist Chen Civilization, took place 70,000 years ago, and the second physical war took place 20,000 years ago. Holy Kesha also got the title of the strongest god in the known universe through this battle. Knight Commander Mushin, please don't be distracted during the combat meeting. Yes, General. The Salient Civilization was a subsidiary civilization of Chen Civilization in the early years. The name of the military position also follows the original Chen Civilization. The ordinary 1st generation divine body is a knight, and the 1st generation divine body with various 6th level branch technologies is a knight commander. The 2nd generation divine bodies serve as generals, and the 2 3rd generation divine bodies sent by the Salient Civilization this time are the commanders of the Salient Civilization army and the generals of the Vanguard army. As a knight commander, Chen can lead 10 ordinary knights of the 1st level of divine bodies. His superior, the general who held the combat meeting this time, the 2nd generation divine body Level Viscount Yinling, has a total of 6 knight commanders. Everyone, but our task is very difficult. The triangles are a group of very difficult beings. They can release strong brain waves and directly act on our brains, causing strong mental interference. At the same time, they can be 80% immune to physical attacks, so when we fight them, we must not engage in close combat, and mainly attack with long-range weapons. The main weapon of this triangle civilization is the round wing. This mechanical arm attached to their backs can not only greatly enhance their brainwave attacks, but also has a strong resistance to energy attacks, and this. Yinling turned on the delivery device. 2 large technological devices appeared in front of Chen and others. This is the black disc, a warship used by this triangular civilization to transport soldiers. It can accommodate 3,000 triangular soldiers and has a firepower equivalent to a level 6 space battleship, and this is the Demon Star, which is equivalent to a war fortress in their army. It can reach the 8th level and will be in charge of the 3rd generation of gods. Our main responsibility is to deal with those black discs and ordinary triangular soldiers. The specific information about these two has been sent to your personal genetic computers. You can check it yourself. I hope each of you is prepared to die in battle. The enemy we will face this time will be more terrifying than all the enemies we have encountered in the past. There are still 6 hours before the war begins. I hope you can talk to your soldiers clearly after you go back and let them all be prepared to die. Yes. Just like the last copy mission, after entering the copy, the system will give the player a long waiting period. During this waiting period, the player can fully understand the situation he is in. You can also take this time to build a good relationship with your teammates. Chen also took this opportunity to begin to understand the character and strength of the 10 knights in his hands. The strongest among them is his adjutant, called Artaurus, who has a rather reckless personality, but is quite generous, so he has a good relationship with other knights. The strength of the other knights is relatively average. I won't go into details. Anyway, it only appears this time. In other words, he has just mastered the ability of the 1st generation divine body gene. Such strength is actually just cannon fodder on the battlefield. Currently, the warriors of the 9th and 8th level civilizations active outside in the universe are all new generations, so most of them are 1st and 2nd generation divine bodies, and in the current cosmic environment, this kind of strength is enough to deal with most things. And this time, I don't know if it was a system bug or something, but during the 6-hour waiting period, Chen found that he actually had a sum of military merit points from the Shura Civilization army, and this military merit point is just enough to purchase some branch technologies for the knights under his command to arm themselves. Chen immediately exchanged for 10 sets of power armor, but he didn't need it because he had better ones. After that, he exchanged for 11 individual assistance robots. He also bought one for himself, although he was already equipped with light wings, the first batch of branch technologies developed by the Shura Empire. The light wings were now level 5 branch technologies. When combined with the light particle life energy in Chen's body, the effect can be multiplied. Moreover, the effect of the light wings is no longer just replenishing energy. It can directly replenish supercells and help himself recover from injuries quickly. But of course, the more such things on the battlefield, the better. So Chen also bought another one for himself. Of course, this individual assistance robot is only a level 5 branch technology product, while the previous power armor is a third level 6 branch technology product. Once these things were bought, all the military merit points in Chen's account were used up. In fact, these military merit points can buy a level 7 branch technology. But in Chen's opinion, the benefits of improving the overall strength of his team would be greater. Beep. The call horn sounded. Chen immediately led his 10 knights to the gathering place. Get ready to go, Yinling announced immediately after seeing everyone was there. The mission of their team this time was to destroy a black disk full of triangular life forms. As for the number of triangular life forms with strength equivalent to the 1st generation divine body level, it was not yet known. If their mission was successfully completed, then they would follow the orders from above and go to other areas to assist in the battle. Chen took another look at the settlement method of this copy points. He would get 100 points for killing a triangular life form at the level of a 5th generation super soldier, 2,000 points for killing a triangular life form at the level of a 1st generation divine body, 40,000 points for killing a triangular life form at the level of a 2nd generation divine body, and 800,000 points for killing a triangular life form at the level of a 3rd generation divine body. There was no triangular life form at the level of a 4th generation divine body on this battlefield. If a member of his team killed a triangular life form, he would be given half of the points he killed. If his team participates in destroying a black disk, he will get 20,000 points, and if he participates in destroying a magic wheel, he will get 400,000 points. Every 1% change in the original plot development will earn 100,000 points. This time, the point acquisition system for the dungeon mission is much more detailed than the last time. Chen took a deep breath and flew out of the battleship. Chapter 137 Ultrasonic Space Construction Device. A large number of warships gathered in this area, and looking far ahead, the magic wheels and black discs of the Triangle Civilization can also be seen. Behind those magic wheels and black discs, there are 3 extremely large disc-shaped warships, whose total volume is even larger than the Sky City supergiant war fortress of the Shura Empire. Those are the 9th-level warships of the Nappa Civilization. The Angel Civilization will deal with them, Yin Li explained to his knights. 9-level warships. Chen looked at the 3 warships for a while, then shifted his sight. One day, the Shura Empire will also have such warships. The war has begun, Yin Li suddenly said. Chen looked over and saw that the warships of both sides began to move forward. Follow the large force. Which black disk we need to attack? We will be notified soon. Yes, the number of warships on the Chen side is about 8 million, and the scale of the warships is not as large as the battle between the Shura Empire and the Norris Legion. But in front of these space warships, there is a dense mass of divine bodies rushing forward. Among them, the female angels wearing silver-white armor and with white wings behind them were not only the largest in number, but also rushed to the front. They also became the first army to contact the black disk of the Triangular Civilization. The target is here. Follow me and advance at full speed. As the 2 sides approached, Yin Ling also knew the target given to their team. Their team soon arrived at the location of the black disk. However, they did not dare to approach easily for a while, because these black disks also released strong brain waves. Yin Ling tried to touch it and immediately felt a tearing pain in his head. Start long-range attack. Chen pretended to follow others to use lasers to attack remotely. In fact, there were 3 super combat power enhancement cards in his backpack. The last time he entered the dungeon, he found that the God Diamond Mall was forcibly closed and there was no way to open it. So this time he bought 3 super combat power enhancement cards in the God Diamond Mall before entering. When the black disk is breached and they disperse to help other teams, Chen will use the super combat power enhancement cards. The long-range firepower of more than 60 first-generation bodies and 1 second-generation divine body was equally powerful, and the black disk soon began to be unable to bear it. The triangular life forms inside began to swim out of the black disk. Triangular life forms are a kind of life form similar to fish. This is the special and powerful point of triangular life forms. As long as they reach the level of 3rd-generation super soldiers, they can travel in the universe. Those with obviously larger physiques than others are triangular life forms at the 1st-generation divine body level. Focus fire on them first. However, these triangular life forms would not stand there stupidly and let Chen and others attack. They gathered together, and the brain waves they released formed a huge field. This field offset most of the long-range attacks released by Chen and others. Even if the attack barely rushed in, it would lose most of its power due to the offset, and it would be easily blocked if it hit the protective shield of the disc equipped by these triangular life forms. Chen frowned. The triangular life forms gathered together, and the brainwave field they released was indeed a very troublesome thing. In the past, both the triangular NPC civilization and the triangular player civilization had shown very terrifying strength on the battlefield. However, Chen knew a way to deal with them. Sure enough, Chen immediately saw Yin Ling take out a device. Just like they would feel uncomfortable when they heard extremely harsh sounds, these triangular life forms would also feel uncomfortable after hearing higher frequency ultrasound. And because their brains are extremely developed, this discomfort will be infinitely enhanced. But now the location here is a vacuum universe, and ultrasound has no way to propagate here. So this device is a device to construct a stable special space. Through this device, ultrasound can propagate in this area. This device was made by the Angel Civilization. The Angel Civilization has the data of the war between Chen Civilization and the Triangular Civilization, so they specially made this device to deal with the Triangular Civilization. After this device was activated, The effect was very significant. The brainwave field created by these triangular life forms was quickly weakened to a great extent. The long-range attacks of Chen and others also began to work, and casualties soon occurred on the triangular side. Intensify the attack. After realizing that something was wrong, the triangular bodies quickly made adjustments. With the first generation of divine bodies at the head, they began to quickly approach Chen's people. Back off. Yinling didn't want to experience the feeling of having his entire brain torn apart again. He immediately ordered his team to stay away from these triangular beings. However, while these triangular beams were approaching Chen and his people, the black disk was not idle either. It began to block the direction in which Chen and his people retreated. It tried to get these people into the brainwave field of the triangular bodies. After all, they themselves knew that their main attack method was their brain waves. Chen, take your people to destroy the black disk for me, otherwise we are too passive if we continue to fight like this. Yes, Chen and his 10 knights began to fly towards the direction of the black disk. Besides, the black disk's previous powerful brainwave fluctuations were actually achieved with the help of those triangular bodies. Now that those triangular bodies have left it, the brainwave intensity has dropped significantly. Therefore, Chen did something very big and risky. He rushed directly towards the black disk. Now the brainwaves released by the black disk lost the help of the triangle, and the intensity was only the intensity that a triangle life of the 5th generation super soldier could release. Chen wanted to try to adapt to this kind of brainwaves. In his previous life, Chen asked his most elite troops to continuously withstand the brainwave attacks of the triangle. This kind of brainwave attack is actually adaptable. After adapting, although you will still feel uncomfortable, it will definitely not greatly affect your combat effectiveness. When approaching the black disk, Chen could clearly feel that his brain was like being stirred by a stick. But he forced himself to endure this pain, but doing so greatly reduced his reaction speed. After all, this black disk still has the ability to attack from a distance. Originally, a divine body of the same level could completely avoid being attacked by a warship of the same level. But now, in just 10 seconds, Chen was knocked down 3 times. If it weren't for the fact that his defensive armor was level 7, he might have been knocked out of the resurrection engine by now. This process lasted for a full minute before Chen felt the pain in his head slightly weakened. However, the discomfort did not decrease at all. If he stayed in such an environment for a long time, the discomfort would only increase and not decrease, and 1 minute had reached Chen's limit. After Chen felt that he could not hold on any longer, he immediately withdrew from the brainwave range of the black disk. It took about 10 minutes for the discomfort to completely subside. During these 10 minutes, the 10 first-generation divine bodies under Chen's command had successfully destroyed the black disk. After confirming that he had no problem, Chen immediately led his men back to Yinling. You know, the lives of the triangular bodies over there are all points. After the black disk was lifted, the threat of the triangular bodies to them decreased significantly. Although they were attacking and retreating at the same time, their speed was slower than that of the triangular bodies. So they were also attacked by the triangular bodies during this period. But in the end, when they killed all the triangular bodies, they only paid the price of 3 warriors. Very good. Yinling patted Chen on the shoulder. After all, it was Chen's team that successfully killed the black disk, so they could complete this mission so easily. But this ease did not last long. Soon Chen received a transfer order. A team not far from them was attacked twice by the black disk, so Chen's team was temporarily transferred from Yinling's men to go there for support. And for Chen, from this moment on, his dungeon mission has just begun. Chapter 138 Speculations on the Impact on Reality. The team that Chen and his team were going to support actually had the same configuration as the Silver Spirit team. They had originally fought very smoothly with the first black disk, but in the process a second black disk appeared. The 2 black disks' pincer attack trapped them in the encirclement of the Triangle Legion. Although the ultrasonic space device reduced their brainwave capabilities, it would still be unbearable to be in it. Well, that team is now fighting hard in the brainwave field of the Triangle life. More than 20 of the more than 60 soldiers have been killed. Chen immediately used the Super Combat Power Enhancement card. All the level 7 branch technologies on him were also upgraded to the level of level 8. Now his combat power can be called a quasi 3rd generation divine body. Photon cutting. The light particle life energy can not only provide light particle energy for its host to fight, but also amplify all the light energy attacks used by the host. So the principle of this level 7 weapon in Chen's hand is the use of light energy. But now this weapon has become an 8th level weapon, and the light particle life energy in Chen's body, which has barely been upgraded to the 3rd level, naturally cannot provide much amplification for it. The photon cutting released by Chen, those triangular life forms had no way to resist it. Even the triangular life forms at the 1st generation god body level could not stop the 8th level attack. This photon cutting shredded the bodies of these triangular life forms like cutting tofu. Now Chen is dealing with these triangular life forms as if he is carrying out a dimensionality reduction attack. After all, the core battlefield is now on the 3 giant war fortresses of the triangular life forms. The high-level combat power of both sides is also gathered there. For a while, the other side can't spare a hand to deal with Chen, who is killing everywhere here. We are saved. Reinforcements are coming. At this time, the knights who were trapped in the triangle also discovered the arrival of Chen and others. With Chen leading the way in front, his 10 knights helped to clean up the trash on the side. They quickly killed a way out of the encirclement of the triangular life forms, and they successfully rescued the knights of the Shura Civilization trapped inside. You guys take a good rest here, we will deal with these triangles, Chen said to the rescued knights. After all, these knights did not belong to his command, and even if he killed these triangles, Chen would not get any points reward. And their current state is indeed very bad, and it is not suitable to continue fighting. Thank you. The leader of this team, a 2nd generation god body with a pale face under the torture of brain waves, expressed his gratitude to Chen weakly. It's okay. After rescuing these knights, Chen no longer had any worries. Various large-scale damage attacks were constantly thrown at the Triangle Life army. The Triangle Life is extremely special, and their brains can communicate with each other, so there is no escape. If they want to retreat, they must do it together. And now, when these Triangle Lives judged that they had no chance of winning, they chose to leave 100 Triangle Lives to delay. The rest began to retreat together, but Chen would not let them go so easily. He handed over all the triangular life forms that stayed behind to his 10 knights. He went to hunt down the retreating triangular life forms. Now Chen, who was hunting down the triangular life forms, was like Kizaru in One Piece. It doesn't matter if you haven't watched One Piece. This is just a metaphor. He released a large area of light rain, which was scattered towards the triangular life army. Because it was a large-scale attack, the lethality would be reduced to a certain extent. The triangular life forms at the level of the 5th generation super soldier certainly couldn't bear it, but the 1st generation god body level could barely resist and continue to escape. But it was meaningless. After Chen used this light rain, almost all the ordinary soldiers were killed, and the remaining 1st generation god body level triangular life forms were killed one by Chen before they had time to escape far. In the next 4 hours, Chen and his 10 knights rushed back and forth on this battlefield, slaughtering the triangular life forms wantonly. Since most of the attacks Chen used were light energy attacks, he even left a title of Light Killer in the Saiyan army. During the 4 hours of killing, the number of ordinary level 5 triangular bodies killed by the Chen team had already exceeded 300,000, and the 1st generation divine bodies had also killed 5,000. The Black Disk destroyed more than 100 ships. The top leaders of the triangular civilization naturally realized such an existence, but a 4th generation divine body like Keisha is too terrifying. They tried their best and it was difficult to stop Keisha from invading their level 9 war fortress. The strength of the 4th generation divine body stunned this old-fashioned level 9 civilization for a while. But even so, such a powerful civilization could not really be completely helpless. This triangular civilization quickly adjusted its strategy. They began to gather the troops on the front line, but their own troops who were originally fighting on the front line went to resist the attacks of those high-level divine bodies, and their own war fortress began to bombard the enemy's ordinary troops with their powerful level 9 firepower. This time the situation was completely reversed. Due to the large number of small black discs, they did delay the pace of Keisha and others. However, the efficiency of Keisha and other divine bodies in killing the basic combat power of the Triangle Body is not as good as the war fortress of the Triangle Body Civilization. The Triangle Body Civilization just took advantage of it through a simple layout conversion. This time, Chen was stunned, because there was no such conversion in the original Cattleman battle. In the original Cattleman battle, the 3 war fortresses of the Napa Civilization were indeed beaten back by Keisha, the 4th generation divine body. However, on the front battlefield, the Triangle Body Civilization has always had an absolute advantage. The Napa Civilization thought that the high-level combat power would be beaten for a while, and when their front-line grassroots troops won the victory, the army would come back to support them and they could win the war. The Angel Civilization wanted to let their grassroots troops hold on for a while longer, until they destroyed all the 3 war fortresses of the opponent. In the original battle, the Chen body paid a very tragic price to hold on until all the 3 war fortresses of the opponent were destroyed. Only then did they win the war. But now it is different. With the addition of Chen, the Triangle Civilization also did not gain an advantage on the front battlefield. This forced the Triangle Civilization to change its own battle strategy. But with such a change, the final outcome of this war is full of suspense. But Chen didn't care. This time the dungeon mission did not require the Chen body to win the war. He said that he could now rush to the battle area of those high-level divine bodies and continue to kill there. Anyway, his goal of participating in the dungeon activity is nothing more than to get points. But suddenly, he remembered the purpose of Yen coming to the player's area before. This war has changed. If it can really have a certain impact on reality, then it has already happened. Holy Kesha must have known it. After all, the other party is really involved in this war. But if this war fails and the Triangle Civilization wins, is it possible to have a certain change in the Triangle Civilization in reality? After all, in their original memories, their fear of Holy Kesha is almost deep in their bones. But the only thing they feared was Holy Kesha. After all, Holy Kesha had won every battle in the physical war. As soon as Holy Kesha died in the previous life, these Triangle Level 9 civilizations immediately jumped out. If now in their memories, there appeared a memory of Kesha's defeat, then, is it possible to make their fear of Holy Kesha disappear? Chen couldn't help but have a headache. Chapter 139, Gun of Judgment. After thinking carefully, Chen still felt that he should do something. He did so much just to make the Shura Empire grow. And the purpose of growing up is to deal with the final war, to face the Death God civilization that has reached the level of 10 civilization. But if the Triangular Civilization loses its fear of Kesha because of this copy, and these Triangular Level 9 civilizations join the future war early, then it is possible that everything will change drastically. The ending may be better, but it may also be worse. Chen dare not gamble. Alas, it seems that I can only find a way to help Holy Kesha quickly break through the obstacles of the grassroots troops of these Triangular civilizations. Chen sighed. He flew in the direction of Holy Kesha. There is no way. If you want to help the Chen body win this war, you must help Holy Kesha reach the war fortress as soon as possible. It is detected that the player has changed more than 50% of the copy plot, and special benefits will be provided to the player. The voice of the system suddenly appeared in Chen's mind. A map suddenly appeared in the upper left corner of Chen's perspective. Here you can see the route of the enemy's war fortress, and you can also see the route of Holy Kesha's movement. The most important point is that you can see the distribution of the enemy and our forces on it. Special welfare tasks are open. With your intervention, this copy has undergone earth-shaking changes. But no matter what, Chen must win this war. Task 1. Participate in destroying the 9th level war fortress of the Triangle Civilization, 10 million points. Unit. Task 2. Ensure that Holy Kesha does not die, 2 million points. Task 3. Get the final victory, 15 million points. Task 4. Ensure that the death rate of Chen does not exceed 60%, 10 million points. It seems that the welfare has been triggered, but Chen is not happy at all, because these points rewards represent the difficulty of completing this task, and at the same time, the welfare tasks that suddenly pop up all point to wanting to win this war. This makes people feel a little intriguing, but just like Chen's previous opinion, no matter what the purpose of the dream world is, he will take the benefits first, and let his civilization and his empire develop well is the top priority. The entire battlefield is divided into 104 areas on the map. These areas are named with 26 letters and 4 numbers. Chen is now in the H2 area, which is now the sphere of influence of the Shen body. The location of Holy Kesha is in the D4 area, which is the sphere of influence of the triangle body. The red dots on the map represent the enemy's black disk, and now in that area, there are countless red dots distributed in it. There is still a long distance between Chen and them. After all, in the past 4 hours, he has been harvesting the lives of those triangles here, and Holy Kesha and others have been advancing towards the opponent's war fortress. In addition, because his previous burst of combat power has been valued by the Triangle Civilization, so he encountered many obstacles on his way to Holy Kesha. At the beginning, there were still those 10 knights to help him relieve the pressure, but later as more and more enemies surrounded him, keeping those 10 knights by his side would only drag him down. After all, they fought together for a while, and Chen didn't want them to die like this, so he separated them from himself. Under this kind of situation, Chen was under more pressure. Although the light rain was a large-scale attack skill, its lethality did not have much effect on those triangular life forms at the first-generation divine body level. If Chen wanted to kill the triangular life forms at the first-generation divine body level, he could only release attack skills with a small range and high damage. After the two sides fought for a while, the triangular life forms also realized this, so they simply sent out 1,000 triangular life forms at the first-generation divine body level to forcibly hold Chen back. In this case, Chen could only sigh at the other party's rogue. In the end, he had no choice but to take out the space transmission device and forcibly send himself to the D4 area. When he got here, Chen felt for a moment that he had returned to the most terrifying period of fighting in his previous life. At that time, all the player civilizations in the entire universe, and 30% of the NPC civilizations all gathered in the Chiwu star system to start a big melee. At that time, just like now, in order to stop a high-level divine body, all kinds of low-level combat forces buzz towards each other like ants. If you have intensive phobia, you can't stay in that area at all. Chen was attacked countless times the moment he arrived in this area. Chen immediately used the light rain to fight back. Chen was alone, but he fought against these black discs as if there were 2 battleship armies fighting. In the process, Chen also successfully attracted the attention of Holy Kesha and others. Who is that person? Holy Kesha used her silver wings to destroy a piece of black disc, and asked the third-generation divine bodies of the other 2 civilizations behind her. I don't know. No impression? There shouldn't be such a third-generation divine body in our civilization. At this time, Chen was wearing his branch technology armor, and the commander of the Salient civilization naturally couldn't recognize him. He shouldn't be a third-generation divine body, just a second-generation divine body, but the equipment he has is all level 8 equipment. Holy Kesha saw Chen's actual level through some details, but they didn't do more research. When they first came, there were more than 100 second-generation divine bodies and 12 third-generation divine bodies in the team, but now more than half of the second-generation divine bodies have been lost, and one of the third-generation divine bodies is also injured. At this time, it would be great if a new quasi-third-generation divine body joined the battle to help them share the pressure. After all, this war was between the Shen body and the triangle body. The other side was also a Shen body, so there was no distinction between enemies and friends. However, while Holy Kesha and the others were happy that someone was helping them share the pressure, Chen was a little overwhelmed. After all, Holy Kesha was still a small group, and they could still cooperate with each other, and their backs could be left to their teammates. But Chen was completely different. He was fighting against attacks from all directions with his own strength, and he would be attacked if he was not careful. That person seems to be almost unable to hold on, the commander of the Silent Civilization said. Keisha looked in that direction, hesitated for a while, and finally seemed to have made up her mind and sighed. She threw out a spear, which flew straight towards Chen. At the same time, the spear was still releasing terrifying laser attacks. The development of each of the judgment spears took a lot of materials and energy. I carry 3 of them with me, originally to destroy the 3 war fortresses, but now I have to use them for Holy Kesha. This physical war was originally caused by her desire to promote justice and order throughout the universe. Now there are other high-level Shin bodies willing to come to help her. If they die because of this, it will affect the realization of her ultimate goal. Chen naturally noticed this situation, and he immediately flew towards Kesha along the path cleared by the Judgment Spear. The power of the Judgment Spear was completely released behind Chen, and a large vacuum area was blasted out in an instant. This bombardment destroyed at least 10,000 black discs and 500 magic wheels. This is the real horror of the top civilization in the universe. Chapter 140, The Horror of the 4th Generation Divine Body. This was the first time in 2 lives that Chen saw Keisha up close. At this time, Keisha had not yet become the supreme god of the future, Shang Keisha. Her status as the supreme god was obtained after this physical war. Beside her were Hizai and Liang Bing, who were only at the level of the 3rd generation god body at this time. At this time, Keisha did not wear very thick makeup like in the anime. Under light makeup, Keisha's beauty was still better than Liang Bing and Hizai. Thank you for coming to help. Although from the previous situation, Chen did share some pressure for them, but in order to save him, Keisha also used a judgment spear that was supposed to be used to destroy the 9th level war fortress. Overall, Chen's help to them was actually negative, but Keisha still expressed his gratitude to Chen. It should be me who caused you trouble. Chen naturally knew the value of the previous judgment spear, so he lowered his posture. After all, the current priority is to cooperate with Keisha and win this war. Which civilization are you from? Civilization? I'm just a wanderer in the universe. Chen smiled. This made Keisha a little disappointed. She thought that there was another Shin level 8 civilization willing to fight alongside her. But I have a special ability. Chen said. What ability? I can know the distribution of these triangular armies, as well as their marching and retreat routes. Data invasion? No. The triangular civilization has the strongest confidentiality in the entire universe in terms of data. You can't crack their data. Hizai, who is in charge of the intelligence department and data department of the angel civilization, immediately questioned. I can see the future, Chen said in a joking tone, pointing to his eyes. But Hizai didn't accept Chen's answer, but she was about to speak when Keisha stopped her. Everyone has their own secrets. You said you can know their distribution and marching routes, but we can't trust you just because of this. You need proof. Keisha stared at Chen. Under normal circumstances, she would definitely not be willing to accept Chen's statement. But now the situation is already very clear. They are completely passive. If time drags on, the Shin civilization will definitely be defeated. Chen followed the system map on the upper left of his vision and sent an identical distribution map to everyone present. We are now in the D4 area. The route to the nearest level 9 war fortress is from D4 to C3 and then to B4. However, this route is already full of triangular civilization troops. If we now choose to go from D4 to D2 to C1 to B4, the triangular troops on this route have basically been transferred to the route I mentioned before. Although this route is farther, the enemies we will encounter are less than 1/3 of the current ones. Since it is still 20,000 years ago, although the concept of the void has been proposed, it has not been truly experimented and applied. The ability of a divine body in later generations to perceive all the situations around itself with itself as the center and even influence those things is given by the void engine. After hearing what Chen said, although Keisha and others still had some doubts, they believed it 70% to 80%. Even Hizai, who had questioned it before, was silent at this time. "Go in the direction," he said. Keisha chose to believe Mo Chen's words. The obstacles encountered by the crowd in the direction of Mo Chen were indeed much smaller, but because the triangular life can quickly transmit information through the brain, they will quickly adjust in the direction of Keisha and others break through and continue to defend. So in this process, Mo Chen also adjusted the direction of the breakthrough many times. When they arrived at Area B4, a level 9 war fortress suddenly appeared in front of them, but there was no other breakthrough plan to choose from here. If they wanted to reach the war fortress, there were a lot of triangular warships waiting for them from all directions. At the moment they arrived, the war fortress had just fired a heavy artillery, causing more than 1,000 casualties to the warships of the Angel Civilization. Damn it! Liang Bing's eyes turned red when she saw this scene. She couldn't help but wanted to rush over, but was stopped by other angels. "We have arrived at the first level 9 war fortress much earlier than expected. Now we must hold on. If we fail to destroy this war fortress due to impulse, it will really lead to greater casualties." Keisha scolded Liang Bing. Then a group of people began to advance towards the war fortress in an organized manner. Before, because they were breaking through, they did not face enough enemies, so Mo Chen basically did not make any moves. But now it is different. Everyone has to use their maximum firepower. Mo Chen's light rain also helped this high-level divine body team to relieve the pressure to a great extent. Since the development system of the divine body at this time has just taken shape, there are still many problems in the divine body weapons. At present, the divine body weapons are mainly aimed at the intensity of the attack. After all, even after 20,000 years, the main role of the divine body on the battlefield is to attack and destroy the enemy's large firepower ships. At this point in time, there are still very few divine body weapons that pursue large-scale attacks, but we have to admit that in the current situation, this kind of large-scale attack is exactly what this high-level divine body team lacks. However, it could only cause them a little surprise, far less than Mo Chen's ability to understand the army distribution and marching routes of these triangular life forms. Mo Chen cleared the low-level triangular life forms on the field, and the role that the higher-level triangular life forms could play would be much smaller. Therefore, the triangular civilization was also forced to let the triangular life forms equivalent to the second and third generation of divine bodies stationed on the 9th level war fortress come to block. At this time, Keisha showed the horror of the 4th generation of divine bodies. Since these triangular life forms with strength equivalent to the high-level divine body level did not have single-body armor and single-body weapons that could match them, Keisha's silver wings could basically achieve the level of one knife to kill a small friend. After all, these divine bodies present were not like Mo Chen, who had a top-level space treasure in his hand, the heart of the Star Sea. There were a large number of energy devices inside, which could provide Mo Chen with endless energy for combat. In order to ensure that the 9-level war fortresses and the high-level triangular life form stationed there could be successfully broken through, Keisha had not released all her strength before. As mentioned before, the triangular life can receive all the emotional information generated by the other party through the brain. Then this ability can be quickly converted on the battlefield and quickly adjust the strategy. But now it is also this ability that causes their entire army to feel the horror of Keisha. In an instant, the morale of the triangular army dropped sharply. Under such circumstances, Mo Chen and his team quickly and smoothly advanced to the first level 9 war fortress. When they arrived here, they needed to test the 3rd generation and 2nd generation divine bodies present. As the only 4th generation divine body present, Keisha needed to use all her computing power to crack the outer defense shield of this level 9 war fortress. During this period of time, she had no way to take active action, and the other 3rd generation and 2nd generation divine bodies could only try their best to prevent her from being disturbed by others. Reality also proved that these triangular lives were indeed afraid of only Keisha. When they confirmed that Keisha would not attack, these triangular lives instantly burst out with powerful combat power. It was very difficult for Mo Chen and others to resist. Half an hour later, when Keisha cracked the shield of the 9th level war fortress, more than 10 second-generation gods and 1 third-generation god had already fallen. However, this was the end of the 9th level war fortress. As the shield was cracked, Keisha threw out a gun of judgment. The 9th level war fortress exploded violently in an instant, and one of the highest level combat forces of this triangular civilization was completely destroyed. Chapter 141 End of the instance. This is a sacrifice of justice. When Keisha learned about the death of the 3rd generation divine body and those 2nd generation divine bodies, she sighed. The destruction of this 9th level war fortress brought a huge blow to the morale of the triangle body. At the same time, it also relieved a lot of pressure on the Chen body army. After the strategic adjustment, the triangle body civilization only left 40% of its troops to fight with the Chen body army, and the main firepower attack was based on the 3 9th level war fortresses. The other 60% of the troops were all used to stop Keisha and other high-level divine bodies, but now with the destruction of a 9th level war fortress, the firepower of the triangle body civilization on the front line has weakened. Now the Nappa civilization will have to make 2 choices. The first is to reduce the troops on the front line and increase the obstruction of Keisha. Continue to cause damage to the Chen body army through the 2 9th level war fortresses. If the protracted war continues, the losses of the Chen body will definitely be higher than theirs. But there is no doubt that the difference in the number of losses on both sides will be much smaller than before. In the end, it is very likely that the Chen army will hold out until Keisha destroys the remaining 2 level 9 war fortresses. The second option is to reduce the obstruction to Keisha and try to wipe out the Chen army in one go with a desperate attack. After all, reducing the number of troops can also play the role of blocking Keisha, but the effect will be reduced, and Keisha needs to break the outer protective shield of the war fortress to destroy the level 9 war fortress. But this approach is actually no different from the previous one. The key point of the 2 approaches is still time. It's just that the former can allow a longer time, and the latter can allow a shorter time. After thinking about it, the triangle civilization chose the second option, because they calculated that the second option would have a higher chance of winning. However, Chen, Keisha and others naturally thought of their idea. The only thing they couldn't confirm was which option the triangle civilization would choose. They chose to reduce the obstacles to us and strengthen the attack on our ordinary army. Chen said immediately after seeing the march in direction of the triangle civilization army through the system map. I recommend that we split our army into smaller units to reduce their firepower coverage points. Chen suggested. Keisha shook her head. If they split into smaller units, they won't be able to compete with the Triangle's army, and they don't have such combat experience, so the battle will become very chaotic. Keisha was of course willing to believe that her angel army could maintain order in a battle of smaller units, but she couldn't guarantee that for the armies of the other 2 civilizations. After all, the angel civilization had grown up in wars for so many years, while the other 2 civilizations were different. They had developed very steadily under the protection of the Chen civilization. After the disintegration of the Chen civilization, the 2 civilizations had already developed to a relatively strong strength, so no one would take the initiative to start a war with them. Okay, Chen sighed. This is a time war, and we don't have much time left. Keisha flew towards the direction of the 2nd level 9 war fortress. At this time, the pressure they faced was much smaller, and naturally they didn't need to follow the previous method, which would actually slow down their progress. This time, it took them only 1.5 hours to reach the 2nd war fortress. However, in the 1.5 hours of Chen's welfare task progress, the army of Chen civilization lost 11%. Before this 1.5 hours, the army of Chen civilization still had 64%, but now only 53%. And that welfare task is also close to failure. After all, he needs to ensure that the death rate of Chen army is less than 60%, but he can't think too much at the moment. After all, Keisha has begun to crack the defense shield of this level 9 war fortress, and they will start to block these enemies for Keisha. When the 2nd level 9 war fortress was destroyed, an hour had passed. In this hour, due to the reduction in the number of Chen army, their disadvantages became more obvious, and the number of deaths in this hour was almost the same as the number of deaths in the previous 1.5 hours. At the same time, the obstacles they encountered were even more terrible. These triangular civilizations rushed towards them almost fearlessly. Even as they were about to approach the 3rd war fortress, Those black discs rushed towards them and started to self-destruct directly. The combat power of the second-generation divine bodies present was rapidly decreasing. These bastards, everyone present had bloodshot eyes. The total number of black discs they destroyed was probably more than 5 million. After all, Chen alone destroyed nearly 200,000, and the mission to ensure the death rate of the Chen body has also failed. The Chen army only had 36% of its warships left. When Keisha and others arrived at the last level 9 war fortress, the Chen army only had 30% of its warships left, and the Triangle Civilization had 58% left. And the high-level divine body team guarding Keisha, more than 100 second-generation divine bodies have only 21 left. Only 8 of the 12 third-generation divine bodies have been left. Among the 4 dead third-generation divine bodies, 3 are from the Angel Civilization and 1 is from the Silent Civilization. Even Chen himself broke his left arm, which was caused by a magic wheel self-detonating next to them. But the explosion not only caused him to lose an arm, but also caused the death of a third-generation divine body level angel. And now they will enter another 1-hour waiting period. Whether in his previous life or this life, Chen had never experienced such a war. There have been many wars on a larger scale than this one, but few have been fought like this. Generally, in a war, if both sides are evenly matched, they will retreat after fighting to a certain extent. Only in a war where one side is crushed will the survival rate of one side's army be less than 30%. But now, the two sides are evenly matched, and the remaining 58% of the Triangle army is indeed much higher than the 30% of the Chen army. But do they have an advantage? Number 2 of their 3 level 9 war fortresses have been destroyed. Both sides have suffered heavy losses, but neither side has any sign of wanting to stop. There is no possibility of stopping this war unless one side completely loses the ability to fight the other. Another hour later, the Chen army had 24% left, and the Triangle army had 51% left. The death toll of the Chen army decreased due to the reduction of the firepower of a level 9 war fortress, while the death toll of the Triangle army increased due to the suicide blocking method of the Triangle army. Attack. One of the 3 judgment spears was used to save Chen, so this last level 9 war fortress can only be destroyed by them through high-level attacks. A third-generation divine body of the Shura Civilization began to use all his energy to support a protective shield. Chen looked at him in surprise. A lot of energy was invested in the development of the Super God gene and the Divine Body gene. This energy was invested in order to stabilize the Super God gene and the Divine Body gene. And the energy used by this third-generation divine body was the energy in his third-generation divine body gene. Once he used up this energy, his divine body gene would be completely disbanded, and he would become an ordinary person again. And there is no need to say what the consequences of an ordinary person in a vacuum would be. But at this moment, the other third-generation divine bodies did not say a word. Chen understood that this was actually what they had discussed long ago. When faced with this situation, a third-generation divine body will take the initiative to use all his energy to prop up a protective shield and use his life to help others complete the task. The sacrifice of this third-generation divine body is indeed valuable. With the help of this protective shield, the divine bodies inside were not affected by the outside world and attacked the war fortress with all their strength. Finally, the war fortress was destroyed. Chen Civilization finally won the war, although the price paid was higher than the original price. Chen's mind also appeared with multiple task completion prompts. But at this moment, a 9th level energy ray suddenly shot out from the 9th level war fortress that was constantly exploding, and the target was Keisha, who had already exhausted her energy at this time, and Chen used his body to block the attack for Holy Keisha. Chapter 142 Memory Change. The dungeon is over. Entering settlement mode. In this dungeon, the player killed 3,276,354 5th-generation super soldier level triangular life forms and earned 327,635,400 points. The player killed 81,736 first-generation divine body level triangular life forms and earned 163,472,000 points. The player killed 11 second-generation divine body level triangular life forms and earned 440,000 points. The team's 10 first-generation divine body knights contributed a total of 1,033,600 points, participated in the destruction of 412,346 black discs and earned 8,246,920,000 points, participated in the destruction of 8,762 magic wheels and earned 3,548,000,000 points, completed welfare task 1 to earn 30 million points, completed welfare task 2 to earn 2 million points, completed welfare task 3 to earn 15 million points. A total of 12,144,176,200 points were earned. This is much more points than Chen originally expected. But Chen didn't feel happy at all, because according to what Angel Yan told him before, these copy scrolls traveled to the real past, and even had a small impact on the present. So that means the war he just experienced was completely real, not a virtual copy, and all the people who died in it were real. Maybe it was a feeling of grief for the death of the rabbit. Seeing this war, he seemed to see his past and his future. The copy exchange mall has been opened, but the system didn't care whether Chen was sad or not, and the process was carried out on time. Chen clicked on the copy exchange mall. First generation God Body Gene, Angel, 20 million points. First generation God Body Gene Star Power, Shura Civilization Nigeria, 22 million points. This is the difference between the God Body Gene of the Chen Civilization system and the God Body Gene of the Angel Civilization system. The God Body Gene of the Chen Civilization system will have a focus, and then take out a lot of messy names, just like the God Body Gene of the Heroes Company on the Blue Star in the future. What galaxy power? No Star Wars, time and space rose. A lot of names, a lot of characteristics. The God Body Gene of the Angel Civilization system does not have too many special points. The overall manufacturing method is standardized, so the time and cost of manufacturing are much less than the God Body Gene manufacturing method of the Chen Civilization system. Of course, in terms of the final strength, the strength of the God Body Gene of the Chen Civilization system will definitely be higher than that of the Angel Civilization. This is certainly not to say that the God Body Gene of the Angel Civilization is bad. The God Body Gene of the Angel Civilization still has many advantages. Otherwise, when the Diener Civilization was studying the 4th generation of the God Body Gene Galaxy Power, it would not have added the genes of the Angel Civilization. The lowest price of the 2nd generation of the God Body Gene is the Angel Gene, 400 million. The lowest price of the 3rd generation of the God Body Gene is also the Angel Gene, 8 billion. But Chen dare not buy the Angel Gene. If he buys it, it will undoubtedly be a finished ending. The God Body Gene of the Jurk Civilization and the Nappa Civilization will definitely not be exchanged. The Jurk Civilization still exists, and it is a level 9 civilization. This civilization is not like the Norris Civilization. The Norris Civilization's Divine Body Gene that Chen exchanged was the 1st generation of Divine Body Gene, and that version of the 1st generation of Divine Body Gene has been eliminated within the Norris Civilization. Although there are still some Divine Body abilities of the Norris Civilization, the internal gene lock that binds to the Norris Civilization is no longer there, and the Norris Civilization cannot be sure that this Divine Body Gene belongs to them. But now the situation is different. What Chen wants to exchange is the 3rd generation of Divine Body Gene, not to mention the preciousness of the 3rd generation of Divine Body Gene itself. All research data will definitely be retained. The special nature of the Divine Body under the Chen Civilization system also makes their Divine Body genes not subject to era obsolescence. So if Chen exchanges the 3rd generation of Divine Body Gene of the Jurk Civilization, it will definitely be recognized as Triangular Civilization. The Nappa Civilization's Divine Body genes are specially made, which are completely inapplicable to Chen body life and Beast body life. As for the Salient Civilization, this civilization was destroyed in the Imperial War more than 10,000 years ago, So in the end, Chen chose to exchange for the divine body gene of the Saran civilization called Blood Sea God of War. This gene does not have any special abilities, but it has a strong lethality. After integrating this divine body gene, all the damage caused to other divine bodies has the ability to kill gods. It can cause direct damage to the enemy's divine body gene structure. In fact, it can be understood as real damage in the game. The value of this third-generation divine body gene is 8.3 billion points. The price of its matching weapon is equally expensive, 5 billion points. It is a red fang Tianhuaji. At least Chen's remaining points are not enough to buy it. So Chen used his remaining points to purchase 5 second-generation divine body genes, 2.1 billion points, and the rest were all used to purchase top resources. This is because Chen doesn't think much of the space battleships of the 4 civilizations in this battle, and the level is not good. It is better to buy some top resources to cultivate his own Tanchang supergiant war fortress. But this does not mean that the current predicament of the Shura Empire has been resolved. Even if the third-generation divine body gene was integrated into Chen's body, he still needed a lot of time to adapt. This time would not be less than 10 years, which means that during these 10 years, he had no way to release the true combat power of the third-generation divine body, and he could not buy level 8 weapons and branch technology products on the market. In other words, even if he used the super combat power enhancement card, he still could not have the combat power of the 4th-generation divine body. Those real level 9 combat powers could easily deal with him. And even if he completely mastered the 3rd-generation divine gene and reached the level of level 9 through the super combat power enhancement card, he had no way to fight against those 4th-generation divine bodies. Here we have to mention the angel Yan in the original work. She reached the 4th generation of divine body like Holy Kesha in the later period, but her combat power was far behind. This is not only the difference in experience and mastery of the 4th generation of divine body, but also the difference in computing power between the two sides. For example, when Morgana is fighting, the supercomputer of the demon civilization will always provide him with computing power, so Holy Kesha cannot be without the same treatment. But in the plot, it is obvious that there is no supercomputer to assist Angel Yan when she goes out to fight. Supercomputers are the biggest difference. The current Shura Empire has only one level 6 supercomputer. This computing power is simply incomparable to that of a level 9 supercomputer. Although the universe is temporarily undercurrent, it has not yet reached the most tense time. Now if Chen bursts out with the combat power of level 8 or just entering level 9, the biggest possibility is that Holy Kesha rushes over and kills him directly. However, at the same time when Chen received his reward, people in the Shura Civilization, the land civilization, one of the current 9-level civilizations in the Triangle, after the defeat of the Nappa civilization, it lost all its 9-level combat power, and the entire civilization fell apart. So it joined the land civilization, and the angel civilization all felt that their memories had changed. The changed memories were not in their database memories, but in the memories stored in their brains. Drifter, Holy Kesha sneered, and her brain memory had also changed. The Battle of Kadiman. It seems that there really is a civilization that has mastered the ability of time, and the level of this civilization is at least an 8th level civilization. Holy Kesha recalled the combat power of the Wanderer in her mind. What the hell? Did someone change my memory? In the Chiwu star system, the Demon Queen Morgana also felt that her memory had changed. Drifter, this guy shouldn't have existed. How could that be? Morgana also had a guess. After all, space would have a certain contact with time in many aspects. Although they did not master the ability of time, Morgana could be said to be one of the people who knew time best in this universe. Rogue, Humphrey, it seems someone has mastered the power of time before us. The king of the Shura Civilization, the 3rd generation god who chose to sacrifice himself in the dungeon, has now become the king of this civilization and has become the 4th generation god. The Shura Civilization has also been attacking the field of time over the years, but to no avail. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo fanfic novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, The Legend of Reliat. Greetings, my god. The man in the black robe knelt on one knee, but his strength had reached the level of the third generation of divine body. Ying, did you come back specially for something that happened in the void? Karl was in a strange space at this time. Beside him, there were many hideous beasts, but the bodies of these beasts were constantly switching between illusion and reality. Yes, it is of great importance, and I dare not use remote communication. The death god Karl was the most valued student of the Dean of the Super God Academy, Jilin. When Jilin gave up his physical body and traveled the universe with his own mind, he gave Karl the most powerful supercomputer in the known universe. This supercomputer, called the Big Clock, is still not comparable to any supercomputer in a civilization even after 10,000 years. Karl also became the current death god Karl with this supercomputer and created the death god civilization. At the same time, he also established the Death Song Academy, and as the dean, he attracted students from all over the universe. After arriving at the Death Song Academy, these students were brainwashed by him and became believers in his void thoughts. But even so, the god of death Karl was often worried, and many very important matters would make his subordinates and him talk in person. Because this big clock was not his after all, he was worried that the Dean of Space Kiran had left a back door in this big clock. Go ahead. A powerful void force was triggered in the main universe, and the secondary void was affected. Powerful void force. Karl was a little surprised. Karl called the big clock for exploration, and the results showed that there was indeed such a void force, but when he wanted to check the other party's location, the result that appeared was insufficient authority. The god of time Kiran unlocked almost all the permissions of this big clock for Karl, but the only permission that was not unlocked was the manufacturing research of the last batch of divine bodies that Kiran participated in. However, Karl himself participated in this batch of research. Among them, there was a third-generation divine body gene, the Time and Space Rose, which was jointly researched by him and Liang Bing, the future demon queen Morgana. However, he did not participate in the divine body gene research of the three-core fourth-generation divine bodies. And the only divine body gene involving the void is the power of the galaxy. It seems that the survivors of the Shura Civilization activated those divine body genes. The god of death Karl sighed. The Shura Civilization was destroyed by the hands of the main god of the Liang Civilization, the third-generation divine body Tandao Hong Kun. But at that time, Tandao Hong Kun was out of control. Behind the scenes, it was actually the joint planning of multiple level 9 civilizations, including the god of death civilization, because at that time, the Liang civilization and the Shura civilization, with the help of the god of time Jilin, created 3 fourth-generation divine body genes in one go, and these 3 fourth-generation divine body genes all have terrifying abilities. Take the divine body gene called the power of the sun as an example. This fourth-generation divine body gene is different from the ordinary star-driven type of divine body gene. The essence of other star-driven type divine body genes is to use the power of stars to use stellar energy, but this divine body gene called the power of the sun is itself a star. It can control stars. In terms of destructive power, no fourth-generation divine body in the known universe can match it, and the divine body gene called the god of war of no star can exert a strong restraint on all divine bodies. If someone can completely control this divine body gene, then this fourth-generation god can easily decompose the divine body gene in a divine body. It is an invincible existence in single combat. The last magical gene called the power of the galaxy has the ability of the void. Unlike the other 2 divine body genes, this divine body gene does not have a strong combat power, but it is almost impossible for him to die, because his life remains in the void, unless someone opens the void channel and enters the void to kill him. In the entire universe, only Jilin has entered the void. It was precisely because of this that many level 9 civilizations were attracted to use despicable means to make Tandao Hong Kun out of control. But unfortunately, in the end, due to some means left by Jilin, These level 9 civilizations did not get what they wanted. The survivors of the Dinar civilization disappeared with those body genes. Tandao Hankun also hid, but if someone wants to obtain the divine body gene of the power of the sun in the Liang civilization, he will be hit by his star explosion comparable to the power of the 9th level. However, these 3 divine body genes all need a very long time to adapt. Emperor Hankun's granddaughter, the sun goddess Reina, the future main god of the Liang civilization, is the owner of the power of the sun. But unfortunately, according to analysis, it will take at least 1,500 years for the sun goddess Reina to fully control the power of the sun. And if the power of the sun is not fully controlled, it will not have the ability to manipulate stars. Interesting, really interesting. It seems that in the near future, the strongest 4th generation god of the 3 universes will be born. It's just a pity that when the catastrophe comes, you may not be able to reach the level you should be. The situation speculated by the death god Karl is indeed correct. Not long ago, Ducao on Blue Star started the arrangement of the super god plan. He also knew that these god body genes in his hands would take a long time to adapt before they could be fully controlled. So he simply implanted these god body genes into the bodies of Blue Star humans in advance. Of course, they were not completely activated, but the descendants of these humans were transformed generation by generation in this way. Let their descendants continue to improve their compatibility with these god body genes. In this way, when they are really needed, they can activate these divine body genes and quickly master them. Comprehensive calculations will be more efficient than their direct use. It can be seen that you have accomplished something great. Mo Chen suddenly appeared behind Ducao. When did you come? Ducao was very nervous. Although they had had many friendly transactions, Ducao was always very wary of Mo Chen. Don't be nervous. If I really wanted what you have, I would have taken action long ago. Mo Chen waved his hand. But at this moment, Ducao was thinking, if they didn't have a 3rd generation divine body like Sun Wukong around them, who could guarantee that Mo Chen would not take action? However, at this time, Ducao received a communication from Sun Wukong and the surviving researcher of the Dinar civilization. Old Du, what's going on with you? Just now, a super powerful energy fluctuation appeared. General Ducao, please be careful. There is an 8th level energy fluctuation around you. Ducao looked at Mo Chen in shock. Mo Chen shrugged. I just became a 3rd generation divine body not long ago. If it weren't for the information just sent by Sun Wukong and his researchers, he would never believe what Mo Chen said. When they first met more than 40 years ago, Mo Chen was just a super soldier, but now he has become a 3rd generation divine body and has entered the top combat power sequence in the universe. I want to ask you for a favor. Mo Chen said. What favor? Help me build a big insect bridge here. Impossible. Ducao rejected Mo Chen righteously. I'm not talking about now. Mo Chen shook his head. In the near future, this place will be plunged into a bloody storm, and countless powerful civilizations will fall in this star field. You should know the reason. What do you mean? Ducao decided to play crazy. The Chen civilization once destroyed a civilization called Reliat. That civilization believed in the void and could open the void channel. That civilization possessed countless wisdom and countless wealth, but their strength depended on the void life. When the Chen civilization destroyed them, the void life there had already left. Afterwards, the Chen civilization mastered the wisdom of the Reliat civilization and became the most powerful civilization in the universe in one fell swoop. But 30,000 years ago, the Chen civilization disintegrated. The database of the Reliat civilization was also sealed by the main god of the Chen civilization at that time in a special way. The seal will last for 30,000 years, and after 30,000 years, the database of the Reliat civilization will be opened. But no one knows who has this database now. And now, the seal of the Reliat civilization database will be lifted in only 1,000 years. This is the information circulated among the 8th and 9th level civilizations. This is what Mo Chen exchanged from the previous copy with 10 million points. The name of this information is The Legend of Reliat. Chapter 144 Norris's Second Attack. You mean the database of the Reliat civilization is here? Ducao stared at Mo Chen, cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Mo Chen didn't say anything. In fact, he didn't know. But in his previous life, if it wasn't because the database was in the Milky Way, why would so many high-level NPC civilizations send their troops here? In fact, those high-level NPC civilizations came to the Milky Way because the fighting between the player civilizations here was so intense that they thought the database was in the Milky Way. I'm not sure, but Erdiner Civilization and Liang Civilization are the orthodox civilizations inherited from the Chen Civilization. If these level 9 civilizations don't find the database, then they will have a very high probability of pointing their spearheads at you. After all, you still have 3 of the most powerful 4th-generation divine bodies in the universe. Mo Chen looked at Du Cao. So what, build you a big insect bridge so that you can send troops to rob it? No. Mo Chen shook his head. I'm here to protect you. I will send troops to protect Blue Star. Who will believe your nonsense? Du Cao slammed his fist on the table. Besides, if we really face such a situation, what ability do you have to protect us? Mo Chen looked at Du Cao. He didn't intend to make any more excuses, because it was unnecessary. There are still 1,000 years, and you still have plenty of time to think about it. This is my special communication device. Through this communication device, you can contact me even if I am at the edge of the universe, and it will never be monitored by others. Mo Chen left a communication device that he bought from the Divine Diamond Mall, and then left here through the space transmission device. Only Du Cao was left staring at the communication device in a daze. In the last war of the Shura Empire, although there could not be any serious losses, there must have been some war damage. More than 1 million warships were destroyed, and more than 300 million soldiers were killed. However, for the Shura Empire, which now has hundreds of thousands of life planets, such war damage can be said to be very, very small. The population of the entire Shura Empire is more than 300 million people born every day. But even so, Mo Chen still held a very grand hero ceremony to pay tribute to these fallen soldiers. After the heroic ceremony, Mo Chen gave the 2nd-generation divine body genes he exchanged to several generals who performed best in this war. They were Yu, Tian, Renault, Yun Yao, and Hila. After that, the Shura Empire entered a year of stability. During this year, all the high-level officials of the Shura Empire were implanted with light particle life energy, and the research on the 1st-generation divine body genes was about to be completed. The Shura Empire's army has completed the 2nd upgrade. The number of warships has directly reached 18 million, of which the number of 4th-level space battleships has reached 13 million, and the number of 5th-level space battleships is 5 million. The Shura Empire has begun to implant super soldier genes into all residents in the entire empire, with the main star Shura Heart as the origin. In Mo Chen's expectation, within 10 years, all residents of the Shura Empire will become 1st-generation super soldiers. After this step is completed, if the Shura Empire does not face a major disaster, then the Shura Empire will begin another round of expansion. Mo Chen will strive to make the Shura Empire reach the peak of the 7th-level civilization within 100 years, and at the same time, the strength of the residents of the entire Shura Empire will all reach the level of 2nd-generation super soldiers. However, since the Shura Empire may face war at any time, this 100-year plan has not been taken out by him yet, and it still exists in Mo Chen's mind. The current stability of the Shura Empire only lasted for this year. At the end of this year, the outer patrol army of the Shura Empire discovered the Norris Civilization army that had been hiding. Moreover, the strength of this army is very terrible. The Shura Empire's border guards were completely defeated after just one encounter. The Holy Wing Corps, commanded by General Ledoux, was stationed there, but the Holy Wing Corps only held on for 2 days. These 2 days reduced the Holy Wing Corps troops by 60%. You must know that this is not a field battle in the universe. The Holy Wing Corps fought with its back to the fortress, but it still suffered 60% of the losses. And the final retreat was also because the fortress was forcibly destroyed by the opponent's 3rd-generation divine body. Although the Holy Wings Legion only held out for 2 days, it did not take 2 days for the Shura Empire's Legion to complete the assembly of the entire army. After the Shura Empire entered the war mode, all large space devices were all put into operation at the highest power. Through continuous space migration, The Shura Empire's army quickly assembled behind the Holy Wings army, but when the Holy Wings Legion retreated here, the 11 million space battleships here were ready for battle. 5 level 7 Tancheng supergiant war fortresses were located in the center of the army. With the top resources obtained in the copy, Chen not only officially upgraded the original 3 Tancheng supergiant war fortresses to the level of level 7, but also completed Tancheng No. 4 and Tancheng No. 5, which had been placed in the Empire's dock for a long time and could not be put into use due to lack of top resources. When the Shura Civilization army followed the Holy Wings Legion and arrived here, they were dumbfounded. They brought a total of 1 million space battleships here, even if 300,000 of them were level 6 space battleships, and the rest were level 5 space battleships. But facing such a huge difference in numbers, they had no chance of winning. Retreat. The commander of the Shura Civilization army, a third-generation divine body, immediately chose to retreat. But in his opinion, although this war could be fought, it was completely unnecessary. This army was the elite force of Shura, but it was undoubtedly undesirable to rashly choose to fight without knowing the details of the enemy. But the other side wanted to retreat, but the army of the Shura Empire did not intend to do so. When this elite force was retreating, the army of the Shura Empire directly launched an attack. Various long-range attacks were directly directed at the enemy's army, catching the other side off guard. It directly caused considerable losses to the Shura army, but it was not realistic to turn back and fight now, so the Shura army could only suffer this loss. After leaving behind the wreckage of nearly 50,000 warships, they successfully got rid of the attack of the Shura Empire army. Chapter 145 Hei's Tactics. This army has a very strong ability to hide its whereabouts. If they had not revealed their whereabouts and launched an attack after approaching the border of our empire, we would have had no way of discovering them until they reached our fortress. Ledoux, the only general present who had fought a direct battle with the enemy, explained the enemy's capabilities to everyone in the combat meeting room. But it may be because of this that they did not show a very high level of firepower in the previous battles between us and them. That is to say, the other side did not have a space battleship or war fortress above level 7. This is probably one of the reasons why the other side chose to retreat immediately when they met our frontal army. But one thing we need to pay attention to is that there are 4 divine bodies in the enemy's army whose combat power has reached the level of the 3rd generation of divine bodies. Our fortress was finally breached because of the intervention of those 3rd generation divine bodies. The Shura Civilization is a level 9 civilization that develops in the direction of scientific and technological weapons, so their divine body combat power is relatively average among the same level, and their real strong combat power is mainly reflected in those battleships and fortresses. 4 level 8 combat power, and the average combat power of the entire army is still very high. It should be the regular army of the Shura Civilization, and there may even be their elite combat teams in it. Chen said. In fact, with the current strength of the Shura Empire, although the average strength of the overall army has not reached the high level in the universe, it can already compete head-on with the powerful fleets of level 8 and 9 civilizations by virtue of its number. Chen's biggest concern about the 8th and 9th level civilizations is the opponent's 8th and 9th level combat power and elite combat teams. This elite combat team is generally composed of higher-level divine bodies and a series of higher-level technological weapons. In Chen's previous life, the Moling civilization had such an elite combat team. However, the Moling civilization at that time did not have much foundation, so the combat team was only composed of 5 second-generation divine bodies and 31st-generation divine bodies. But the elite combat team of the Shura civilization must not be just such a configuration. At least 2 of the 4 third-generation divine bodies sent by the opponent will be members of the elite team. After all, the Shura civilization cannot send troops here to withdraw too many high-level generals from the defense line between itself and another 9th-level civilization. If there is such an elite team, it will pose a very serious threat to us. Hei frowned. After all, it is difficult for them to completely block the team composed of such a team. Once the opponent successfully enters the defense line, it will cause great losses to them. The enemy has already chosen to retreat when they met head-on, so they will definitely not engage in head-on combat with us again in a short period of time. So if they really have an elite team, they will definitely use it. Jiba connected Hei's words. Yeah, in fact, Chen couldn't figure out how to solve this situation for a while. My king, is there a slave collar you used before that is targeted at the third generation divine body level? Hei suddenly asked. There is one, and it is different from the previous slave collar. The previous slave collar can only be used when the opponent is unable to resist, and this slave collar is directly used forcibly. Chen remembered the prop he bought in the real mall before. Chen looked at Hei. This man who he thought was higher than him in strategic IQ might have thought of some combat plan. That's great. Then, for a level 9 civilization like Norris, their lead troops must be equipped with a higher level supercomputer, right? Hei continued to ask. In high-level civilizations, supercomputers are standard equipment for elite troops. Chen answered Hei's question. After hearing the battle plan that Hei would give at this point, he already had a guess. Then it's very simple. The other party is equipped with such a supercomputer, so it is impossible not to use it. We can give them false information to let their elite team fall into the trap. With the slave collar, we can forcibly control one of their third-generation divine bodies. As long as the other party's third-generation divine body is restrained, the other divine bodies will not be a concern for us. Hei said. There is nothing wrong with this plan, but the specific implementation still requires a lot of detailed discussions. Rand, ye see, I'll leave it to you two this time. Lameshu looked at the two people in front of him solemnly. All three of them are third-generation divine bodies, and Lameshu is the commander of this Norris Civilization army. And Rand and Yisi are the captain and deputy captain of the elite team sent by the Norris Civilization army this time. This elite team consists of 2 third-generation divine bodies and 20 second-generation divine bodies. Although there are only 22 people, their fighting power is very terrifying. Moreover, the small space battleship equipped by their team is equipped with the highest level of cloaking device of Norris Civilization. Even if the opponent is equipped with an 8th level detection device, there is no way to find their traces. In fact, there was originally a miniature mobile insect bridge on it, but due to the special characteristics of this desolate starfield, this insect bridge cannot be activated. Don't worry, our battleship is equipped with an 8th level energy index, and it is easy to destroy their large firepower ships. Rand replied. If possible, you can choose to capture the opponent's king alive. The main order of my king this time is to capture the opponent's king. If we can capture him, maybe we don't need to fight the next battle. Lameshu instructed. Understood. After Rand and his left, Lameshu took a deep breath. A year ago, the army of this empire only sent out about 8 million space battleships when fighting us, and there were only 3 supergiant war fortresses with level 7 firepower. But now, the number of warships of the opponent when we met before is probably not less than 10 million. And there are also 5 supergiant war fortresses. It seems that this civilization may really be the same as Jitraka said, inheriting the main relics of the super space empire 10,000 years ago. If this relic can be obtained by me, then why should I continue to submit to that waste? That's right. Lameshu is the confidant of the king of the Norris Civilization, so he knows Jitraka is such an important guess. But it is a pity that the king of the Norris Civilization misjudged Lameshu. In Chen's previous life, the rebellion that the Norris Civilization had encountered was led by Lameshu. Chapter 146 Fish takes the hook. Captain, we just deciphered a very important message, the supercomputer operator of the elite team of the Norris Civilization said to Rand. What message? The king of the Shura Empire seems to be leaving the front line recently and going to a place with a high level of confidentiality under the escort of a small number of gods. A place with a high level of confidentiality? Rand was stunned. Can you decipher the information of that place? The protection there is very strict. If we forcefully crack it, it will be easy for the opponent's supercomputer to find us and find our location in turn. The operator of the supercomputer explained to him. I will ask Lameshu first. A place with a high level of confidentiality? After hearing the information from Rand, Lameshu fell into deep thought. In his opinion, The place where the king of the Shura Empire wanted to go was very likely the place where the legacy of the empire was. Have they set off now? Not yet, Rand replied. Well, after they set off, don't arrest their king too early. Follow them first and find the location of that place. No, forget it. I'll come in person. Just after saying the previous paragraph, Lameshu suddenly changed his mind, because in his opinion, if Rand and his team found that place first, they might report it directly to Jitraka. At that time, if he wanted to rob the things inside, he might directly fall out with Jitraka. Now he is not ready. Even if he obtains the legacy left by that civilization, he will not be able to win if he starts a war rashly, so he must go with Rand and his team. And after finding the location of that place, he will stop Rand and his team from entering in advance. If there is really no other way in the end, then he can only kill Rand and his team by force. He is definitely not as powerful as Rand's special combat team in terms of unit divine body combat power, but for so many years, he has enriched himself by relying on the position of Jitraka's confidant, and he has a level 8 super alloy combat armor hidden in his hands. This is a trophy that the Norris civilization has obtained in many years of war. With this armor, he was able to defeat the combined efforts of Rand and ISS, two third-generation divine bodies. In addition, he also had a 9th level sky prison device in his hand. As long as it was released at that time, they would not be able to transmit any information. Okay, I got it. Rand ended the communication with Lameshu. The commander told us not to act trashly. He will come in person. Him? Why? You can't get along with my king, and you want to take credit like this. ISS tone was somewhat disdainful. In fact, ISS had some aversion to going on a mission with Lameshu, but he had been in front of him before, so he didn't show this aversion. After all, Lameshu's poor combat ability was something that the entire Norris civilization's top leaders knew. If he wasn't a former favorite of the current Norris civilization master, he probably wouldn't have had the chance to become a third-generation divine body. He's the boss now, so just do what he says. Rand sighed, but in fact, ISS's words just now also made him think. It is a very normal thing for them to destroy a cosmic empire that has reached level 6 or above after becoming a level 9 civilization. But why didn't their own civilization tell other level 8 and 9 civilizations about the situation here? Now they even need to sneak out and cannot be discovered by the Sampton civilization. If they tell the Sampton civilization about this matter, the other party will not attack them at this point in time due to the pressure from other level 8 and 9 civilizations. So the only possibility is that this empire holds something extremely precious, but their king wants to take it all for himself. And the strength shown by this empire now is indeed a bit scary. Alas, forget it. Greater than Rand shook his head. He didn't have any ambitions. Even if there was a secret, he would do whatever the superiors said. Sneak to the vicinity of the enemy's defense line and meet the commander. Yes. Chen and his team made such a plan, not because they already knew that the other party mistakenly thought that there was a treasure on their side. Still, they wanted to use such a highly confidential place to attract their attention. After all, the purpose of sending a team like them in is nothing more than assassinating the top leaders of this civilization or destroying their top combat power. Or from a place with high confidentiality, which is generally a place where some cutting-edge weapons are produced or stored. In addition, as an emperor of an empire, he only sent a few people to follow him. These 2 points together will easily attract the other party, but the real situation is that this place with extremely high confidentiality is indeed a relic. However, this relic is just a relic left by a level 7 civilization, and it is a relic of a level 7 civilization 30,000 years ago. It's just that most of the files in it cannot be consulted because they are too old. Most of the information on branch technology is also seriously damaged, and it is impossible to sort out a complete set. Things like divine body genes and ancient warships are not even seen. According to the people of the Shura Royal Research Institute, this relic has been opened in the past, and the most important things in it have been taken away. At present, this relic can only provide the Shura Empire with level 6 and level 7 civilization drawings. But even so, it is also very precious, so it was put into the data with the highest level of confidentiality by Chen. After all, if a new member joins a region that has been upgraded to a highly confidential area, it will be easy for the other party to find out and use this to see through their plans. Near the outer defense line of the Shura Empire, a warship that is only 30 meters long and 15 meters wide, similar to a war machine, slowly docked there. At the same time, a person with a small silver device on his back approached the warship. Identity verification is in progress. Identity verification completed. Commander of the Norris Royal Army, Lameshu. Authority level, Level 9. You can enter. Lameshu entered the warship. Have they set off? They have already set off, but we have locked their signal, Rand replied. Very good, follow them. The warship began to move towards the direction of the Level 7 ruins. Chapter 147. A free bargain. In fact, there was only Chen on the battleship that Chen was on. Because of the worry, the other party did not choose to attack at their ambush site in the end. In order to avoid unnecessary casualties in this situation, Chen did not let others accompany him on this space battleship. And if such a situation really happened, Chen would not choose to fight with them, but would directly leave the space battleship through the space device. After all, his own strength cannot be exposed now, and Chen does not know what the Norris civilization is planning to fight now. However, Chen was not idle on this space battleship alone. He was constantly communicating with the light particle life energy in his body. If the light particle life energy wants to become stronger, it needs stronger willpower and mental strength. Therefore, Chen needs to constantly run in and exercise with the light particle life energy in his body. Because of the particularity of light particle life energy, the weapons that Chen is equipped with are all light energy. However, since weapons or branch technology products of level 8 and above will not be sold by various civilizations, these weapons are all level 7 configurations now. In addition, the Super Combat Power Enhancement card only reaches level 8. But if Chen can bring the light particle life energy in his body to the level of level 5, and then amplify those light energy weapons, even if the level of these light energy weapons cannot reach the level of level 9, they can reach the top level in level 8. However, this journey did not take too long. It took less than 6 hours for Chen to reach the location of the level 7 ruins. From the outside, there is nothing special about this level 7 ruins, but in fact, inside this ruins, all the divine body level combat power of the Shura Empire plus 10,000 5th generation super soldiers have gathered here. After arriving here, Chen did not stop and directly entered the ruins. Not long after Chen entered, the warship of the elite squadron of the Norris civilization also arrived here. After seeing this ruins, Lameshu immediately became excited. Although the main reason he chose to follow was to find the location of what he believed to be the legacy of the Universe Empire. But he was not absolutely sure that the place where Chen was going was there. After all, he only speculated that the other party was going to the place where the legacy was located, based on the fact that both sides were having a hard time defeating each other on the battlefield. So the Emperor of the Shura Empire might go to a place with more powerful combat power. However, when he saw this relic now, he could confirm that this was the place he had dreamed of. At the same time, this elite team was also stunned when they saw that the place where Chen came to was such a relic. Rand glanced at Lameshu, and now he had completely guessed the other party and their king's thoughts. You wait here, I have told my king the situation here. I will go in and investigate first, Lameshu said to this elite team, and was about to leave. Wait, Lameshu and Rand saw that it was Yussi who spoke. I don't know what's going on with you. I can probably guess what's happening now. Our civilization didn't inform any level 8 or 9 civilization about this cosmic empire. I'm afraid it's just for this place, but if that's the case, can't we go in together? From the moment you knew there was such a place, something was very wrong with you. No matter how precious this place is, even if it's a relic of a level 9 civilization, our king wouldn't be so scared that he could only let one of his confidants develop such a relic. Yussi walked out slowly. Tell me, what's your purpose? Yussi looked at Lameshu with extremely fierce eyes. After hearing what Yussi said, Rand also understood. Because Rand didn't like to participate in those complicated things on weekdays, He didn't have too many other considerations when facing these things. But now that Yisi said these words, he began to doubt Lameshu. Lameshu sighed. Why don't you just pretend that you don't know anything? Why do you have to show up? Lameshu had actually set up the sky prison device when he just got off the battleship. As he said this, the sky prison device was opened. Then, he put on his super alloy armor through space ability. Lameshu, do you think you can fight against our entire elite team by yourself? Yisi frowned and looked at him. He recognized the super alloy armor that Lameshu was wearing. The original owner of the armor died at his hands, but it was 3 third-generation gods who besieged the other party and killed him. The technology of that armor is close to the 9th level armor. It not only has extremely strong defense, but also can bring a strong increase in the energy of the user. Of course it's impossible for me alone, but turn around and take a look. Yisi turned around and found that half of his elite team had their weapons pointed at their teammates. Do you think I really have no confidence at all? I have long coveted the combat power of your elite team, so I have been enslaving your members with slave collars since a long time ago. It's a pity that you guys who live with them day and night have never discovered it. Lameshu laughed. Hearing these words, the faces of those who were not enslaved by Lameshu turned very ugly. Traitor, what you are doing now? We will go back and tell our king. Yisi, let's join hands to take him down. Rand took out his weapon and said seriously, he is indeed a person who does not like to participate in any power disputes, but now that Lameshu has betrayed their king, Rand will definitely do his best. Come on. Rand and Yisi went to meet Lameshu, and on the other side, the elite team that was originally united now split into 2 sides and started fighting. All this happened outside, which shocked Chen and others who were secretly observing in the ruins. Chen looked strange at this time. He did not expect that he had made so many arrangements, but the other party started fighting first. What about us? Ganyu asked. Just stay here, and wait for them to decide the winner, and then we will go and reap the benefits. Although Chen was very surprised by the current situation, it was better overall. After all, the original tactical plan was to use props to enslave one of the opponent's third-generation bodies and fight with the others, and their own army would deal with those second-generation divine bodies. But now, I don't know if all of this can be omitted. Although there has been no direct contact, their goal has been achieved. The combat power that Lameshu showed after putting on that set of armor was indeed very terrifying. Relying on his own strength, he tied with Rand and ISS, and even had a bit of a slow suppression in the war of the second-generation divine bodies, because the number of second-generation divine bodies enslaved by Lameshu was more than that of the unenslaved party. The second-generation divine bodies on the side of Rand and ISS were also at a disadvantage. In the end, the victory and defeat on the side of the second-generation divine bodies were decided first. After the second-generation divine bodies under Lameshu won, the outcome of this battle was already determined. Rand and ISS were soon subdued by Lameshu and other second-generation divine bodies. Although Lameshu betrayed the current lord of the Norris civilization, his goal was to become the new king of the Norris civilization, so he didn't kill Rand and Iz. After all, they were both at level 8. But to prevent accidents, Lameshu cut off their hands and feet. At the level of the third generation of divine bodies, they only needed to go back and receive certain treatment, and their hands and feet would grow back. Now doing this was just to destroy their combat power. But just when Lameshu felt that the matter had come to an end for the time being and was about to walk towards the ruins with excitement, his expression froze. Because a legion was slowly walking out of the ruins. Chapter 148 Ramazu's Past. Perfect. What a wonderful battle. Chen walked out of the crowd with a smile. I didn't expect that you could come up with so many things just because I found a level 7 relic. What did you say? Lameshu's eyes widened. After hearing this, he had a very bad guess in his mind. There is no relic, you guessed. The development of the Shura Empire to this day is all due to us. Chen took out the god-locking chain he bought at the beginning. Humphrey, your civilization started from scratch. If you hadn't found the most important legacy of the universe empire at the time, how could you have the current combat power? Lameshu obviously didn't believe what Chen said, but Chen didn't want to listen to his beeping, and threw out a god-locking chain. You Lameshu felt the strong sense of control in his body. He widened his eyes. His eyes were full of anger, but it was useless. A strong spiritual force was constantly oppressing his own spirit. In this way, Lameshu spent a minute with a hideous face. He knelt on one knee in front of Chen. Master, the second-generation divine body that was originally enslaved by Lameshu will now obey Chen. This scene made Rand and Iz, who had lost their hands and feet, extremely panic. They had never heard of any civilization that had the ability to enslave third-generation and above divine bodies. But now, this thing that was enough to shock the entire universe happened in front of them. In the universe, one second-generation divine body can fight against 5 first-generation divine bodies. But if a second-generation divine body wants to fight against a third-generation divine body, it often needs 10 to 20 to match it. Of course, this is only for divine bodies with relatively ordinary combat power in this level. But this is enough to prove that in terms of divine bodies, the higher the level, the greater the gap between the next level divine bodies. Therefore, the props that can enslave divine bodies in the universe can only enslave second-generation divine bodies at most. The reason why Chen acted so quickly was because he had seen the battle of these 3 third-generation divine bodies before. This Lameshu has many high-level branch technology products. If he doesn't act quickly, something might happen. If the other side is killing each other, and we still can't take them down despite the careful arrangements, wouldn't it be extremely stupid? I ask, you answer. Chen said to Lameshu, yes, Master. Did the Norse civilization tell other level 8 and 9 civilizations about the existence of the Shura Empire? No. What's the reason? The current king of the Norse civilization, Jidaraka, believes that the current Shura Empire can have such strength because it inherited the legacy of the Universe Empire 10,000 years ago. He wants to embezzle these things. So for the time being, he has not yet learned about the situation of other level 8 and 9 civilizations in the universe. Lameshu, who had been enslaved by Chen, naturally told him all the situations truthfully. Is that so? Chen lowered his head and took a deep breath. Then what role did you play in this? My original name is Darren Legiata. When Lameshu said this, Rand and his eyes widened at the same time. Legiata. This surname was the surname of the royal family of the Norse civilization more than 5,000 years ago. More than 5,000 years ago, the Norse royal family decided to visit the Samton civilization, which was also a level 9 civilization and was quite friendly with them at the time. However, after entering the territory of Samton civilization, the fleet they were on was attacked and the entire fleet was wiped out. The Norse royal family, including the king of the Norse civilization at that time, all died. Only one child under the age of 15 was left in the entire Norse royal family. The child's name was Darren Legiata. The top leaders of the Norse civilization believed that it was Samton who attacked. Therefore, the Norse civilization and the Samton civilization launched a 5-year-long war until now. But in fact, the people who attacked the Norse royal family at that time were not the army of Samton. Instead, it was the first commander of the Norse civilization army at that time, and the current king of the Norse civilization, Jitraka's men. But what Jitraka didn't know was that the Norse royal family at that time was equipped with a special engine in their bodies. And Darren Legiata, the only survivor of the royal family, learned the truth of the matter through this device. In order to avoid being secretly killed, the only member of the royal family fled the palace. As a result, he lived a life of escape, hiding his real name and changing his name to Lameshu. Later, he slowly entered the official system of the Norse civilization and climbed up all the way with his flattery. Finally, he became a close minister to Jidaraka. But after 1,000 years, the ambitious Norse civilization general, now because of the extravagant life of the emperor, all his abilities and ambitions have disappeared. Therefore, Darren Legiata, who has become a minister to Jidaraka and alias Lameshu, began his revenge plan little by little. Through his original royal identity, he contacted those who were still loyal to the original royal family little by little. At the same time, he also accumulated strength day by day through his identity as a minister, and obtained resources through corruption. and he used his embezzled property to purchase slave collars and began to turn those who were loyal to Jidaraka into his own men. After thousands of years, he finally accumulated enough power. But there was still a lack of a perfect opportunity, and he was not absolutely sure that he could deal with the 9th level combat power in Jitraka's hands. At this time, he received a mission to lead the army to help Jitraka to capture a new divine body-level cosmic empire. Moreover, Jitraka told him that this cosmic empire was likely to hold the legacy of the destruction of the cosmic empire 10,000 years ago that could single-handedly compete with all the civilizations in the region without power. So he knew that as long as he could master these things, he would be able to drive Jitraka off the throne. So there was this scene now. Chapter 149 Mo Chen's Plan. After listening to Lameshu's story, Mo Chen fell silent. He originally thought that this guy was just an ambitious person, but he didn't expect that he was involved in such a secret. Rand and Iz were also very shocked after hearing this story, but they were just shocked. They both entered the army after the appearance of the royal family. Like Lameshu, they were the third generation of gods newly born in the Norse civilization in the past 5,000 years. So they had no loyalty to the previous royal family, but now they can understand what Lameshu did. Interesting. It's really interesting. Mo Chen already had a plan in his mind. As long as this plan succeeds, the Shura Empire may not encounter any troubles in the next few hundred years. However, this plan now requires more thinking and preparation and details. Then, Mo Chen turned his attention to Rand and Iz. After some thinking, Mo Chen took out a giant device that was 200 meters high, 130 meters long, and 80 meters wide. He exchanged this device from the God Diamond Mall. Its main function is to place it next to a black hole. Through the powerful attraction of the black hole, the space-time is distorted, and this decoration can obtain powerful space-time power, and this power is converted into space-time crystals. This device is currently the most expensive device in the God Diamond Mall, with a price of up to 1 billion. The role of space-time crystals is also very powerful. Generally speaking, they are used to produce weapons and divine bodies of level 9 space-time, and in the introduction panel of this device, this crystal can even be used to make level 10 space-time devices. However, there are very few such crystals in the known universe at present, and there is only one device like this in Mo Chen's hand, and the conversion efficiency is also very low. Even if it is placed next to a black hole, it may only convert one space-time crystal every 100 years. The reason why Mo Chen has not exchanged it is, first, because it is not needed for the time being, and second, because the black hole is too terrible. Even if Mo Chen now has the strength of the third generation of divine bodies, he dare not go to the black hole easily. If Holy Keshal stayed at the level of the fourth generation divine body for 20,000 years, she would die because of the explosion of a star. The threat of a black hole is no less than that of a star explosion. The powerful gravity of a black hole can even affect time and space, unless it is a third-generation divine body specializing in space, and it needs various branch technologies of space to assist it. It can cope with the space state there. As for wanting to overcome the gravity of a black hole, it is basically impossible. Even the fourth-generation divine body has no way to resist such a powerful force. Perhaps only the death god Karl, who will become the fifth-generation divine body in the future, can resist it. However, the purpose of using this device at the moment is not to obtain the crystal of time and space. Mo Chen simply took out this device because he had nothing on hand to control Rand and Iz. Although this device is not used to imprison the divine body and block their communication signals, but in order to absorb and compress the power of time and space, a very solid, stable and unbreakable space is hidden inside this device. But at this time, Mo Chen suddenly thought of Morgana, the king of the demon civilization, named the space-type divine body that she and the god of death Karl created together as the Rose of Time and Space. Unfortunately, although it was called the Rose of Time and Space, the divine body did not have the power to control time. If the plan he had thought of before succeeded, when the Shura Empire became an 8th-level civilization, it could completely research the third-generation space-type divine body by itself, and then collect space-time crystals. After that, through the special help of the System for Branch Technology Research, It could create a space-time divine body by itself. After putting the third generation and second generation divine bodies that were defeated by Lameshu into the space-time crystal collection device, Chen took his troops and Lameshu back to the front line. On the way back, Chen had already conceived his plan. What he needed to do now was to discuss some details with Lameshu. Lameshu, do you still want revenge? Yes. Although Lameshu's consciousness was controlled by the god-locking chain, Lameshu completely surrendered to Chen, but his original hatred, character and way of thinking would not change. Very good. So I came up with a plan. I want you to return to the Norse civilization and stir up civil strife. I will help you become the king of the Norse civilization. For Chen, as long as he did not reveal his identity as the king of the Shura Empire, it didn't matter if he disguised himself and used the combat power of the fourth generation of the divine body. Now I need you to pretend to be in a fight with our empire, and then use this as an excuse to ask for military support from the Norse civilization. And you must tell Jidaraka that you have confirmed that our Shura Empire does have the remains of the Universe Empire back then. It's just that our Shura Empire has not yet been able to fully master the technology and the remains. So at present, we don't need level 9 combat power on the front battlefield, but we need the support of the third generation of divine bodies and level 8 firepower. Remember that the third generation of divine bodies that come here must be those who are willing to support you. I remember that you have 4 third generation divine bodies coming here. What is your relationship with the last third generation divine body? Chen asked. That third generation divine body is also my supporter. In the Norse civilization, there are now a total of 9 third generation divine bodies. Among these 9 people, only 2 are willing to support me. Lameshu answered Chen's question. That is to say, excluding the 2 who are now captured, there are only 3 third generation divine bodies willing to support Jitraka. Jitraka itself is one of the 9 third generation divine bodies. The 9th level combat power of the Norse civilization only has 1 war robot. No, there is one who is currently neutral. That person is not willing to support me, but also not willing to support Jitraka. Chen nodded. That is to say, the number of third generation divine bodies on both sides is equal, and the current gap is only the 8th level firepower. With the super combat power enhancement card and the armor that Lameshu wore before, Chen's combat power can compete with the 9th level combat robot of the Norse civilization. This is a 2nd generation divine body and a 1st generation divine body. With the power accumulated by Lameshu over the years and the army of the Shura Empire, they can completely compete. The most important point is that the enemy is in the open, and we are in the dark. If I can sneak into the Norse civilization, I can kill Jitraka directly by sneak attack and help Lameshu control the Norse civilization. In this case, with the Norse civilization in front, and 2 9th level combat forces, the Shura Empire can develop steadily and avoid future wars. And Chen also mastered a 9th level civilization through Lameshu. On the same day, Lameshu and his men returned to the Norse army. The other 2nd generation gods in the elite team were forcibly enslaved by Chen using slave collars. Chapter 150. When things go smoothly. After Lameshu returned, he immediately launched an attack on the Shura Empire, claiming that the Shura Empire had set a trap, which led to the near annihilation of the elite team. On the other hand, Lameshu reported this incident in the following way. My king, the number of the enemy's warships has reached more than 10 million, and there are many war fortresses with level 7 combat power. This is not the combat power that this empire should have at this stage. So I sent an elite team into the Shura Empire. In the process, they found a place with extremely high confidentiality. After I heard about this, I immediately thought of the ruins left by the Cosmic Empire 10,000 years ago. So I set out with the elite team. After arriving there, there was indeed a relic, so we followed their king in after he entered. But this relic contains some kind of space trap, and we were separated as soon as we entered. And there are all kinds of traps inside. I encountered a lot of dangers in it, and I escaped very luckily. But Rand and Yisi failed to come out, and I learned from the 2nd generation divine bodies that escaped from the back that this relic will separate people of the 3rd generation divine body and above, while those below the third-generation divine body will move forward together. I can fully confirm that the relic of this level of ability is the relic of the Cosmic Empire. The response to this report was that Idolaka could not wait to ask Lameshu to launch an attack and take down the Shura Empire, but the result was that the two sides were evenly matched after fighting for a day and a night. Lameshu once again reported and requested reinforcements, "My king, but after losing two third-generation divine bodies, it is difficult for our army to threaten the opponent's high-level firepower. If we continue to fight, neither of us can do anything to the other. And because of the opponent's numerical advantage, our army is still slightly at a disadvantage. If we want to successfully take down this empire, we now need more troops. It would be best if we can send level 8 combat power. Our army has no way to suppress the opponent's firepower because it does not have level 8 firepower points." After knowing that the war on the front line was not going well, Jedilaka gritted his teeth. He felt that he should not let Lameshu serve as the commander of the army, because at present, it is difficult for Norris to withdraw level 8 combat power to the battlefield of the Shura Empire. However, Lameshu also confirmed that the Shura Empire did rely on the knowledge and weapons left after the demise of the original Universe Empire to develop into what it is now. This made him eager to hold the relic in his own hands. "I will support you with a group of troops, but it is difficult to draw out the 8th level combat force for you," Idaraka replied to Lameshu. "My king, you can send General Gordon and his army over," Lameshu said. Idaraka pondered for a moment. Gordon was another third-generation god who was willing to support Lameshu, and he and his army were not stationed at the contact border with the Sampton civilization. This army was stationed on the completely opposite side. But there was only this army in that direction. If Gordon was sent out, then the Norris civilization would not have an 8th level combat force stationed in this direction, although there were no enemies that could threaten Norris in that direction. But if Sampton's army went around that direction to launch an attack, it would not be impossible, although there are few major battles between the two sides now. If Sampton has a chance to take Norris directly, they will definitely not let it go. This made Jitraka very entangled. Finally, Jitraka decided to take a gamble. After all, the Norris civilization has lost 2 level 8 combat forces. If it cannot obtain this relic to supplement, the Norris civilization will inevitably be completely inferior to Sampton on the front battlefield. "I can let Gordon go, but you have to guarantee that you can win this war within 3 months. As long as this batch of troops and Gordon are sent, I can take down this empire in 2.5 months instead of 3 months. Lameshu issued a military order to Idaraka. So Idaraka really sent the army and Gordon to Lameshu. When the army arrived, Lameshu quickly enslaved all the second-generation gods of the army with slave collars. In other words, all the middle and high-level officials of the two troops are now completely in the hands of Lameshu. Lameshu actually controls 2 troops within the Norris civilization. Now there are 4 troops in total, with a total of 4 million warships, and if Norris does not count the reserve army, the regular army only has a total of 11 million space battleships. Afterwards, with the middle and high-level officials on both sides in a tacit understanding, the Norris army and the Shura Empire army played a show match. In the end, the result of this show match was that the Shura Empire's army was defeated. Lameshu took over the Shura Empire in 2.5 months. Afterwards, Lameshu pretended to leave an army of 100,000 space battleships in the Shura Empire to guard the ruins. He took his own army and the Shura Empire's 5 million battleships on the road back to the Norris civilization. However, the Shura Empire's army stopped when it reached 4/5 of the distance. The remaining 1/5 of the distance is barely a safe distance. As long as they hide well, the Norris civilization will not be able to find them. They hide here to wait for Chen or Lameshu to issue an order to attack, and Chen is also hidden in Lameshu's army. Just wait until Chen successfully assassinates Jitraka. This Shura Empire army will quickly kill into the Norris civilization to assist Lameshu in controlling the Norris civilization. If the Sampton civilization made any moves during this process, Chen would also go to the front line. When Sampton realized that the Norris civilization had 2 level 9 combat forces, they would naturally stop attacking. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.